I just wanna run it up. Can we check or something? I've been really in the field, let up, yeah. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Don't need no deals, I make the deal. Have to take it to a meal. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Yeah. Kinda check the song. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count that too, count it up, yeah. Count it up. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Need them ones, I need them fives. Need them tens, I need that change. To the safe, got blues inside. Greens and pinks, it's all the same. I still save and roll my change. Take some losses when I play, charge it to the game. I'm with L, yeah, I'm with T Black, I'm with Reverend now. I'm with Bay, yeah, I'm with J, yeah, I'm with Chuck and now. Still the same, not switching sides, now it's about loyalty. You switch sides off for the bag, and that's worth more to me. I mix Nike with designer, I experiment. You just rock what's on the shelf, and I'm not feeling it. Search for the one, but baby girl, it's nothing real as this. Can't trust a soul, I keep a hammer, call it too legit. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up.
Yes, indeed. Mr. R.J. Ochoa in the building. How you doing?
It's good to be with you guys. Happy Tuesday. Happy almost end of June. Happy almost July. Happy dinner time. I scarfed a Jimmy John sandwich, so I'm feeling nice and fed right now.
Hey, I'm glad you slowed down on that name because I felt like you was just about to mess up.
Oh, no, I mean, if I was eating some of his food, it would have been a nice piece of fish, with some salsa, and it would have been some good times. This was Jimmy John's with 2 bags of barbecue chips. That's the secret. You got to get 2.
No, you good on the food. I'm saying when he said your name and your last name, he was slowing it down so he didn't mess that up, and I was watching him.
So how you know why I slowed it down? You know what I mean?
know why you slowed it down. You didn't want to mess up, and that's all good. I appreciate you. That's all I'm saying. I would have did it too.
Hey, why don't you allow me to play it off my way? You know what I mean?
Okay, my bad. I just like to catch people.
No, you good. You did catch me too. I was like, RJ, I said it right. Anyway, now I want to get right into this football because, RJ got a lot of content that's out there. All right, so first of all, thank you for coming to the show. He's with Blogging with the Boys, and they do a podcast pretty much every day, especially on YouTube. So I want to kind of get into some of your statements and just kind of play it by ear if that's okay. All right.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, let's talk Cowboys. Let's have a good time, and let's all have some fun. That's what I'm about.
Here we go. All right. So first thing I'm gonna play is your take on Anae, and then we go talk about that. Here we go.
Because, like you said, we know the Cowboys have DeMarcus Lawrence, but what else do they have? All right, what do they really have going on? Now, here is every defensive end on the Dallas Cowboys roster as of now. As always, sorted alphabetically. For you, we start with last year's 5th-round pick, Bradlee Anae, Dallas Cowboys. I know you're listening. Please play him. Let him play. Let Bradlee Anae play.
So out of all the defensive ends, Anae was the person that you was like super thumbs up on. So we want to hear about this. Like, what got you so kind of bullish on Anae?
So first of all, I feel really special. When you said you were going to play it, I don't know why I thought something else. I feel like I'm in another dimension here, but so that was well done. But, I remember last year, Daniel Jeremiah, who obviously does an incredible job covering the NFL draft and the NFL as a whole, right after the draft, and we all remember last year's draft class was all about value, how the Cowboys had gotten, everybody was this insane value pick. And Bradlee Anae, actually, Daniel Jeremiah had him as his largest value. Had him as a 3rd-round pick. The Cowboys got him in the 5th round, obviously, as we all know. And, I love DeMarcus Lawrence, and I went to bat for DeMarcus Lawrence in that same video that you talked about. I love the promise of Randy Gregory. I love Randy Gregory's story. I just, last year was really frustrating for me near the end of the season when the Cowboys were playing Aldon Smith a little bit more. And there was a combination of factors, that we all knew, unfortunately, that the season wasn't really going to go somewhere special, that Aldon Smith was likely not going to be on the team in 2021, which is now the case, obviously. And so I just feel like, Bradlee Anae is this incredible player who has an incredible opportunity and some incredible athleticism, and we didn't get to see it at all. And I would have loved to have seen him, especially in a season that didn't have any preseason or anything like that. And that's why I'm really excited for training camp and preseason this year. I just really think he exhibits a lot of promise and a lot of potential in a way that I never really felt about Dorrance Armstrong or Joe Jackson or some other late-round picks at defensive end for the Cowboys.
That's a great assessment of Bradlee Anae. He can play right or left on that edge there. And on top of that, his contemporary that played with him in Utah, right? Francis Bernard, he got some playing time last season. So if the Dallas Cowboys put Bradlee Anae, who I did a small snippet on earlier this year, and he reached out and said, yeah, he's ready, and he can't wait for the opportunity. I think that the Dallas Cowboys were trying to do Dorrance Armstrong a solid last season by playing him with all of those snaps, because I just don't really see him making an impact. And they wanted to showcase his talent, maybe to do some type of trade or something like that, but it just never manifested into anything that's solid.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. I mean, Dorrance Armstrong is somebody that you're right. And Dorrance Armstrong has some prowess. Like, I don't want to dismiss, and I know you weren't either, Dorrance Armstrong or anything like that. But he's somebody who, that's somebody that Jerry is really high on and you're right. Maybe he's gassing him up for trade value, whatever. But, and so that's kind of part of where the Bradlee thing comes from. Like every week, when the inactives would come out and Bradlee Anae's on it, it's like, man, you kidding me? This guy's inactive again. And then it's, the only dude they're talking about, the only guy kind of at the end of the depth chart is Dorrance Armstrong. It's like, why is this guy who at this point, we know that Dorrance Armstrong isn't going to really turn into something special with the Cowboys. God bless him. Hopefully he does somewhere else. But Bradlee Anae is still early into his rookie contract with the team. And it just, especially in a season where so much was lost, it would have been nice to have said, okay, this is about experimentation. This is about learning and growing and developing, seeing what we have. We saw a lot of great play time from some of the younger players. Is really great. I know, obviously, a second-round pick to see Trayvon Diggs get as much play time as he did, which is really, rare for a cornerback. But I would have loved to have seen Bradlee Anae, and I see, our comment here that Anae's too short, and there's an argument there, but we need to see that. We need to see Bradlee Anae at an NFL level, and we just really didn't get an opportunity to last year. I'm not saying this dude's going to come in and rip off 2 sacks a game, but that opportunity needs to be given where it makes the most sense and where it's the most efficiently utilized.
Hey, you know what, RJ? That's a great thing, everything you just said, to that point that somebody just said he was too short. I remember a dude named Elvis Dumerville, and he was only like 5'11". He did pretty good in the NFL. So it ain't really got to be all about height. If you got really good technique and you know how to hone that, because we look at even DeMarcus Lawrence. He wasn't the super athletic guy, but what he did was he really mastered his hand fighting. And that's what kind of separates him, in my opinion, with other defensive ends that may be more athletic than him. And I think that's one of the things that I like about Bradlee Anae when he was coming out of Utah. His hand fighting, he was a lot more advanced than you've seen a lot of the pass rushers. And I think that's what, if I can bounce off you, RJ, that's what you were excited about, because he was coming in a lot more advanced than a lot of these rookies that can just come off the edge with the speed rush. And then if the guy gets their hands on him, they don't have a counter move. You weren't seeing that with the Bradlee Anae. You were seeing more of that, especially in his college career at Utah. He had a lot of sacks and he was high pressure guy. So that was kind of like, it was frustrating to me as well, is that we didn't get to see all that. As long as even with Reggie Robinson, they said, well, we're going to move him back to corner. Well, dag, we could have saw if this could have been a pair that you had with Diggs, and then maybe you could have thought differently with draft. So just those 2 players right there that came out of that draft, I wish we could have saw more of them, because I think they could have added to last year trending into this year.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned Reggie Robinson. At the beginning of the pandemic last year, right after the draft, we had his coach from Tulsa on our show, and I mean, just raved about him as a worker and his work ethic and how he approaches things. And it's unfortunate that we didn't get a chance to see these things. I'm not going to go to bat for Brandon Knight or Terrence Steele or anything like that, but it is cool that last season, as frustrating as it was, provided an opportunity to see these, potential future swing tackles of the team, potential pieces of depth. And it just would have been nice to have gotten the same opportunity for Bradlee Anae and Reggie Robinson.
Where do you see Reggie on his team for the 2021 season, facing all of the guys that we have now?
It's tough. I think, he's probably the player who saw his standing impacted the most from the draft. Obviously Israel Mukuamu not playing a corner, but I have to imagine, when you just look on paper, right, like who's going to get the lion's share of opportunities. Obviously, you've got Trayvon Diggs, you've got Anthony Brown, you've got Jordan Lewis. Now you've got Kelvin Joseph. You have Nashon Wright, who I think a lot of people are starting to come around on now, myself included, and that's a really exciting thing. And so right there, we've already named 5 guys. And so it's tough. That's how fast like time turns in the NFL. This time a year ago, so many of us excited about the prospect of Reggie Robinson and what he could potentially bring. But now, it's kind of, you got to be smart. Like the NFL is so much about contracts and being wise. And now, we live in a day and age where Dak Prescott has thankfully been paid, but now your team has to be constructed in an even more wise manner because you have to save and pinch pennies wherever you can. And so if you've got to get more play time out of these, now younger guys than Reggie Robinson, I think that you have to maybe lean that direction. But ultimately, I feel for Reggie in that, he's kind of been through a lot as a stretch, but he's seen his position change and he's in his second year in the NFL. And so I'm hopeful that Dan Quinn can stabilize him. I don't want to see Reggie go through what Byron Jones did, the flip-flop early on in his career. But I do think he is a bit of an odd man out just because there are now so many bodies in that room.
All right. Now I'm going to tell you, RJ, the going word is this, all right? You never know a man until you fight him. So, if some stuff you said, we might have to fight on this, all right?
Hey, look, I want every player to be awesome and to make the team to be great.
I'm setting you up. I'm talking about something that I'm getting ready to play. I'm going to play it, but we got to have a talk about this one because because I'm bullish on this player. You seem like you're not bullish on this player. So I'm going to play it. We going to talk about this. And then we going to fight about this, okay?
Round one.
But in a nice way. Though. All right, here we go.
When it comes to Randy Gregory, something I have said for years is it's risky for the Cowboys in just a football sense to count on him. And that has nothing to do with his path or anything like that. That just has to do with who is he as a player now, right? Because it's been a long time since he's had the opportunity to really kind of run through, what is a normal season for an NFL player. In fact, Mike McCarthy said a few weeks ago at minicamp that this was the first time since his rookie year that Randy Gregory was participating in a full offseason with the Dallas Cowboys. And that's just kind of been his career to this point.
Wait a minute. Go ahead. I want you to elaborate on this because I got some more stuff on this, but go ahead.
So I took a lot of heat on this comment on our YouTube channel. You guys know how YouTube can be. And let me say that I love Randy Gregory. And I wanted to make this very clear in the video that I did because I do think it is so awesome and so cool. And honestly, how the Cowboys have kind of been visionaries. The Cowboys have supported him through thick and thin, through all the adversity that the NFL has thrown his way. And they've really now pioneered a way where the things that have kept Randy Gregory off of the field, the things that have kept Randy Gregory away from their facility, those things are no longer in place in the NFL. And so good for the Cowboys for really kind of standing by their guy. Now, where my reservations come in, is we've seen the Cowboys devote a lot of resources to other areas of the defense this season, right? They've obviously addressed linebacker and Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox and Keanu Neal. They've signed a number of safeties. They obviously drafted a couple of corners, and obviously Israel Mukuamu. And so you only have a limited number of resources, right? Like you can't fix everything. And yes, they did draft Chauncey Golston, but so they are kind of relying on Randy Gregory, right? We all view him as the starter opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence. And I think we all think that Tank is a top 5, top 3, potentially edge rusher in the NFL. The reality when it comes to Randy Gregory on the field is that he has played 10 games over the last 2 years, 10 NFL games. And so I'm just nervous about that. I'm nervous about that the same way I'm nervous about Tyron Smith having to play 17 seasons, Lyle Collins having to play 17 seasons. Like I said, this is the first time since 2015 that Randy Gregory is going through an entire offseason. And God willing, that propels him. God willing, that sets him up, to have the season, because we have seen the success. It has been there in flashes. I don't want to, I don't feel comfortable betting on that. And I'm totally down and rooting to be proven wrong in that sense. But it just feels risky because he's played so little football over the course of the last 2 years. Now, to be fair to the Cowboys, that same kind of risk has worked out. It worked out really well with Aldon Smith last year. Although, while Aldon Smith was really great early on, remember that Seattle game that we've talked about 1,000 times, Aldon did kind of fade down the stretch. And I think it's fair to connect dots and say that some of that could have had to do with the fact that he hadn't played an entire NFL season in 5 years at that point. So I love the Cowboys standing by Randy Gregory, but it just feels risky because he hasn't played a lot of football lately. But if anybody can obviously persevere through all that, I certainly wouldn't bet against Randy in that sense. It feels a little bit risky to me.
Let me see if I can change your mind a little bit, okay? And
I'm open. Sell me.
I want to expand on this too. I want to expand on this too.
I got you. And you already know. All right, so I got you on that too. So I'm drinking measured Kool-Aid on Randy Gregory. Okay, this is why. Number one, he's at his full weight, which he's usually not. He's in camp, which he's usually not, so he's getting to work with his guys. He has low tread, and he's fully in his man body. The defense is all fully built for his skill set with the 4-3 under, which you could tell they was playing him both at the Leo and the Sam. He's going to be featured in this defense, and I think it's going to create one-on-ones for him. Then he also has a sneaky smile.
Sneaky.
I'm serious too. I'm serious. All right, let me show you the sneaky smile. I want you to really check this out. Everybody check this out.
Randy, this isn't a question about your past, but your future. It's a contract year. What is that? How do you go about that this season?
Same way I've always gone.
Huh?
How do you go about that?
You see that sneaky smile, RJ?
What is that? How do you go about?
Everything you said has merit, and you're right. And those things are definitely, they have, they certainly incite optimism. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
But an NFL season is a gauntlet, right? And it's a marathon, right? And so if the four of us we're gonna go on a road trip, right? We're gonna go from Boston to Los Angeles. We're gonna take we're gonna travel the entire country. Do we want to take the car that's been that's only been driven for 300 miles over the course of the last 2 years? No, do you want to, and you're right. Like you're saying, I'm going to take it. I'm going to get an oil change. I'm going to make sure the tires are good. I'm going to check the tire pressure. I'm going to get, some washer fluid in case we run into some rain. We got to use the wipers. And so all of the proper measurements are being taken. And I agree with that. It's just, and to be fair to the point I said a minute ago, they did invest their resources elsewhere. And they did kind of hedge their bet a teeny bit. They signed Terrell Basham, Carlos Watkins, Brent Urban can obviously play the end spot too. And so if the choice was we have to bet on Randy Gregory, or we have to bet on Jalen Smith, or we have to bet on, call it, I don't know, Donovan Wilson to a strong degree, maybe the player you're most comfortable betting on is Randy Gregory. I can see that argument, but it is, I don't think it's flawed. And I don't think it's loose. I just think it's a teeny bit risky. But again, this risk has paid off for them at this specific position just 1 year ago. So maybe they feel confident in that. To be fair, they're taking a similar sort of risk at offensive tackle, both in Tyron and Lyell, hoping that they can stay healthy. But
True.
You can't be 100% everywhere, and that's ultimately what it is. It's just hey, the guy hasn't played a lot of football lately, and that's just that's unfortunate.
Real quick, big game. I know I got one more question real quick, and I know you're ready to jump in. I'm going to say this because I saw on your show you had the over-under on 5 sacks. I'm going over 10. Wow. I'm so bullish on him. And that, it's okay that
he has 10.5 for his whole career.
And he never had his full off season. He was rolling out of bed getting sacks. Now he actually getting ready to work out with the team. And I know it's not etiquette to debate the guests, but damn it, I want to talk about this Randy Gregory and get the record straight.
He gonna get there, man. He gonna get there.
What do y'all law big game? What do y'all think? Again, I'm not confident. I'm just a little. I like the word you used. I am measured with him. My measurement is just maybe a little bit larger than yours.
I have him
I'm
north of 8
fully-
No,
sacks.
I mean-
nobody right, nobody wrong on this. I just want to give you a hard time on that.
Yeah.
But go ahead, though, Big. I know you had something.
Go
on
ahead,
that.
James.
I mean, just my personal opinion on it. I feel what you're saying on that, RJ, about you haven't seen it. He hasn't done it. So how can we really believe it? But I think that when we saw it in college, I feel like Randy Gregory is just a different type of player. There's certain players that come into the league that are just different. That, I mean, even to a degree, Alden Smith was different. For him to even be playing, missing all that time, 3 years almost out of football, not even touching the football, be able to come in and play, and he did. You could see the fade, but he was also over 30 years old. He's like, what, 32 years old? I think you see a Randy Gregory who's 27, 28, and I feel like that body's a young 28. And I just feel like his best football is still ahead of him because he's just a different type of player, and he has that bend. You saw more pass rush moves than you saw him just coming off the edge with that bend. You saw him really good in the run game, still had a high amount of pressures, even the short amount of time, had like 25 total, 41 the year before. And you saw what 2018, that flash of him can do. And just like I feel like what Ball says, with a full off season, and he's in a good mind state. And I think that goes I think that goes farther than anything else. I think not only has he had a full offseason, he's in a good mind state where he don't have to worry about anything. And that's nothing better for a player when he can get on the field and he doesn't have to worry about anything outside of it, because Randy's, even when he played, he still had to worry about those things. Now he doesn't have to. So now we're going to see a fabulous Randy Gregory, and I'm up there with the 10 sacks. I think it can happen, and plus there'll be a rotation for him. He can start it, but they'll have a good rotation for him to be able to keep him fresh and still be able to keep him dominant. Let's see Randy Gregory do this thing this year.
Woo! All right, so now it's my turn to talk about good old Randy, huh? All right, my thing is, I think he'll get north of 8 sacks. I look at what Dan Quinn is intending to do, just like you mentioned. They went and got Basham. They also still going to put the rotational. Yeah, I know.
Don't do that. Don't
you can
do
play that, but I already
you can
know.
play it all you want, but he's going to be on it. Yeah, whatever.
He's going to get north of 8 sacks. I believe that it's going to be a situation in the scenario that we have 17 games opposed to 16. You don't want to peak on your defense in September nor October. I want this defense to gel together, understand, and learn to play together, because last episode we talked about Micah Parsons, right? So he's going to be blitzing off of a certain edge, and I'm thinking that they're going to look at Randy Gregory and say to themselves, let's not just rush him out there to be the sack king in September, but let's know that this is this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I think that that's what they're going to do to circumvent that, so he won't get burnt out like Alden Smith did last season. So I believe he'll get north of 8 sacks this season, and I believe that it will be a situation where it's Basham. And if we do get the chance to see Bradley Anae, it will be Bradley Anae coming in as that rotational situation. I don't want to see Rondell Carter again, RJ. I don't want to see Rondell Carter like they put him in last
Don't
season.
do that to Ron.
I'm not trying to tell you denigrate Rondell Carter, but come on, he was starting over Bradley Anae last season, and then on top of that,
you right.
Yeah, I was sitting like, whoa, where's our 5th round draft pick at? Let's not put Rondell. Shout out to Rondell Carter, by the way, but I just want to see Bradley Anae come in opposed to Rondell.
I hope all of you guys are right. And again, I'm not trying to doubt Randy. I'm just trying to explore, what feels safe, what isn't, because, I think it's worth looking under every rock, especially as we get ready for training camp. But I'll say this, because I hope this much that I'm wrong. Let's you said over 8 law. Let's put it at 8. If Randy Gregory hits 8 sacks with that sneaky smile, Whataburger's on me. All right, we're all getting Whataburger to celebrate Randy Gregory, because I really hope that happens. And I agree with you so much, James, in that him being in the right headspace, is so important. And honestly, the most important thing is that it's important for his life. But he doesn't have any of those extracurricular concerns. And that really is a powerful thing. We've seen a lot of players kind of be centered and take off as a result of it in different places, different teams. And so hopefully that's the case. And hopefully all of this does trend in the right direction. And but let's hope for a combined like 25 sacks between him and Tank ultimately.
Hey, let me ask you this.
I definitely feel on that.
Let me ask y'all this. How many sacks did the guy over there in Tampa had, JPP?
Oh, come
He had
on,
like
Lord.
8 or 9, didn't
Man,
he?
you gonna
9.
make me Google?
Yeah, y'all can Google it right quick because I think that the way that defense, they wasn't hot in September and October, but they got a nice defensive
He had 9.5,
front.
by the way.
9.5. So let's put Randy in right. I want Randy to have that type of production, especially if we can get the results that they had on their front. So let's get that type of production over here in Dallas land. Because I know the other guy, he was killing it too. Barrett.
Well, I want to ask.
Tampa.
I want to ask RJ this right quick, and I want to ask him about Tank right quick. I know you talked about Tank. I mean, what's your thoughts on Tank? I've been my feelings are he's a very good player. He's not a great player to me. He's a very good player. I feel like he does certain things in that run game that a lot of defensive ends don't do, but I feel like we need more from him. And I know they're like, he does more than sacks. He opens up the things for, I get all that, but that's not what they paid him for. They didn't pay him to be opening up the door for everybody else. They didn't pay him to get 80 tackles in a game. They paid him to get sacks, dog. They paid that man to get sacks. Then when he went to contract negotiations, RJ, he didn't say I had 80 tackles the year before and the year before that. He said 14.5 sacks and 10 sacks. I want to get paid. And they said, you right. You feel me? So what do you think about that? Don't you think he needs to be having one of them 12 sack years along with the run game being dominant, super dominant, the way the Cowboys need?
So Tank is such a fascinating person to think about or analyze or debate because you could look at it through a lot of different lenses of context. You're certainly right? Like, one specific argument is they paid him, he needs sacks. We've got to see that. Right. Robert Quinn got sacks. Alden Smith got sacks. Randy Gregory has gotten sacks. He got 8 sacks, and all the guys are going to Whataburger to celebrate. Why is Tank Lawrence not getting his sacks? And so that's fair, but you're right. And, when I think of Tank, I got to give a shout out to my dude, John Owning. That dude is the leader of the Tank Lawrence for President fan club.
Yeah, don't say one thing. Yes.
Right. And I've learned a lot about DeMarcus Lawrence just from reading. John does such a great job. And yeah, I think, it's hard to measure him against other edge defenders in the NFL because he doesn't have the sack numbers, because he does do some things like play so stoutly in the run. It's hard because, things have been so unstable for him. Like of all the other great edge players, I don't know. I think he's had the least to work with next to him along the interior, and hopefully that stabilizes this season. I mentioned Brent Urban a little while ago. Hopefully he provides another option, another different versatile piece for the Cowboys to mix up and kind of use as part of the rotation. But I think ultimately, and maybe this is a cop-out, I think he's by far the best defensive player on the team. And I think he has lived up to like his rep, if that makes sense. And you can argue whether he's lived up to his contract, but he is the war daddy. Like I do think he's fit that mold. And that's a hard thing to do. And, he obviously his rookie year was the first year DeMarcus Ware left. And so you've got a lot of different like expectations surrounding him, et cetera. And so he's a unique player in terms of how you hold him in terms of Cowboys lore. And I think he ultimately is as much better for the Cowboys than he is if he's somewhere else. He obviously leveraged a great, contract year twice over into a great contract. And so, I'm pumped that he's not a Cowboy. I know all of you are too, but you're right. Like it's not all sunshine and roses. Like there does have to be some more there. And I'm really, interested to see. I know Tyrone Crawford's production, necessarily hasn't been that high really ever. But obviously he was this incredible leader for the Cowboys. And so now with him gone, it's the DeMarcus Lawrence show on defense. I'm really excited to kind of see him take on that role in a different way.
Is he a leader? Do you really feel that he's a leader, or he's just the guy that talks it up in the locker room?
I do think he's a leader. I remember a few years ago, and I think he did learn a lot of that from Tyrone Crawford. And people have bagged on Tyrone forever, right? Because he got paid, and you want to talk about like a dude who got paid and then didn't put up numbers. Tyrone Crawford certainly fits that. And so I think I think Tyrone was always big brother. So like maybe the thing that maybe not limited, but just kind of held DeMarcus back from fully taking the stage as like the centerfold guy might have been the presence of Tyrone Crawford. I remember the season the Cowboys were on All or Nothing, the Amazon show in 2017. Right. I remember watching DeMarcus Lawrence's Snapchat, And there was something. It was such a small, maybe stupid thing. He and they show this in the show, and that's why I remember it. He and Tyrone Crawford were riding bikes to the stop, like I guess from the houses or whatever. And it just seemed like this really small thing, like, you know, a little thing from DeMarcus's perspective, I can do to up my physique, whatever. And so I think he leads certainly by example. The Hot Boys stuff has, you know, upset some people. You know, some people feel a certain way about the name and everything. But I mean, feelings about the names aside, he does rep that, and he makes everybody feel a part of that. So whether you think it's cheesy or whatever, I mean, it's real to him and it's real to them. And so in that sense, I think he does exemplify what a leader is. But I also think it's hard for him to be like the alpha too, not just because of the presence of Tyrone Crawford in the past, but it's the Dak show. You know what I mean? And so you can only achieve so much as a leader, but I do think the defense does completely belong to him now.
Okay, RJ.
It's going to be Micah Parsons soon.
I was about to say
question.
Go ahead.
It's going to be Micah Parsons soon.
Yeah.
It's going to be Micah Parsons soon, real quick. It's going to be real quick. If he turns up real quick, RJ, real quick early, the first few games, everybody's going to turn and be like, you're our leader. Watch.
And the reason why
I
you
agree
can
with
say
that.
that is because Bennett came in for a cup of coffee. And from what I heard, Bennett came in and he was leading the defensive front. We're like, hold on. But, you know, we'll find out this year.
And to that point, you know, when Bennett came in and the Cowboys got blown out by Buffalo on Thanksgiving, you know, he was the one dude who was like pissed off about it, right? Like, hey, this is unacceptable. Like, we can't be losing, whatever. I'm wearing my Manchester United jersey. There's a player on their team. His name's Bruno Fernandes. Joined the team a couple of years ago, and they had kind of been, for anybody who's not a soccer fan, kind of like the Cowboys, this big name and just kind of underachieving. And he came in, and when they would lose or they would even draw, he'd be pissed. I mean, he'd be like, no, this is unacceptable. We're Manchester United. And, you know, Bennett came in, I think, from just like a level of personal respect and demanded that. And it does seem like Tank has grown into that. But in that department, again, it's the Dak show. I mean, that's the dude who holds them all accountable.
All right, so we got to ask you a real question, all right? Because I don't know how much time we got before you have to go. So we have a question on game changers, all right? All right, so check this out, and then we go talk about it.
Hey, I love being a Cowboy.
Big game, James.
Game changer.
Hey, let's have some fun. Let's have a good time, man. Let's kick it.
All right, so the game changer question. Who would be the game changer defensive end between Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence?
Not your best player, the game changer.
The game changer.
The game
Who gonna
changer.
set the game off?
Who's the game changer?
So this was a long time ago, but we've seen Tank like change a game, right? Like the 2014 wild card round against Detroit. Tank won that game. I mean, he lost it when he fumbled the ball, but I mean, he did win that game, and he won it again later on. So like, he's changed a single game more than Randy Gregory ever has, at least to this point. But we all know Randy's had a unique career. I do think, and this is cheating a little bit, I think the answer is Randy, because we have seen, and I talked about it in that video where everybody was all mad about my comments about Randy, but we have seen, you know, Robert Quinn, Aldon Smith, these ends opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence really flourish. And so if Randy Gregory does turn into this guy that, you know, we're all crossing our fingers and hoping that he is, if he is this 8-10 sack guy, like DeMarcus Lawrence, one of his strengths is, and I know, you know, James, you don't pay the guy to do this, but is to strengthen, you know, his partner on the other side. And so if he does that for Randy, and Randy is what we hope he is, then I think Randy is the true, like, kind of closer. I think, you know, if you want to use like a baseball analogy, you know, DeMarcus is your starter, goes seven innings or so, and then Randy comes in and just finishes it off, gets that sack to kind of close things off, and you celebrate.
Good stuff.
I like that.
All right, how much time we good? Because I know David coming in about 15 minutes. Are we good, James?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I had another question, and it's based on another one of your comments, and it's about Cox. So I want to talk about Cox and then talk about where we are now, and get your professional opinion on that, representing blocking with the ball.
Talk about Jabril Cox. Jabril Cox, the other linebacker who the Cowboys drafted in 2021, might have the highest level of excitement. Actually, when you talk about, when you ask, when you tweet, hey, who are you most excited about when it comes to the Cowboys draft picks? I feel like the largest volume of answers does center around Jabril Cox. People are excited about Micah Parsons, but there's an understandable level of excitement. There's a different level of excitement when it comes to Jabril Cox, because it does kind of feel like the Cowboys stole one, like the Cowboys got lucky, like the Cowboys really got this incredible value, and so that changes your perception on a player.
Now, this is the thing, RJ. I'm afraid, I'm being all the way honest with you, that the guy who unanimously was declared the value of the draft, I'm so afraid that year one, he's going to be the wedge buster. Can you talk me out of my fears? Because I'm thinking that linebacker room is just too deep. Even for his skill set, it would take a bunch of injuries, even with guys that are now, we know, backing each other up, because they came out and they said that Neal is playing weak side as well as LVE. So how does this value guy hit the field, or will we see him as the kickoff man and wedge buster in 2021?
So I do think, that Jabril is arguably, if not now, maybe by the time preseason's over, the best coverage linebacker on the team, just in that small vacuum. It's not a small vacuum, but in that specific sense. Yes. And that is an asset that this defense doesn't have, that this linebacking core doesn't have, right? Like, and you've got it in some spades with Micah, obviously now, but Jabril offers that in a very specific sense. And so I just think, like, in situations like that advantage becomes so obvious early on, right? And I could see some sort of, like, it's week 3, Jabril comes in, he gets 2 picks out of nowhere, and it's really weird. And so it becomes this difficult thing to keep him off the field, regardless of the investments that you've made. And yes, the linebacker room is crowded, but kind of in the way we talked about Bradley and I'm not saying don't ever play Leighton Vander Esch, but we know that Leighton Vander Esch, Stephen Jones can say whatever he wants. He's not realistically in their plans for 2022. And so if Jabril is offering you, something different, and he is part of your future linebacker tandem, and he and Micah Parsons, and he's playing to a level that's justifying it, I think it makes sense. I think they just won't be able to deny it. You know what I mean? I think that and that's a really optimistic way to look at it. But I think that he will simply outshine his contemporaries with his coverage skills. There's a lot to being an NFL linebacker, and it's more about, more than just covering. But that is something that we have really seen flourish in Dan Quinn's defense. If you're a great coverage linebacker, Dan Quinn knows how to use you, and I think that he can really star in a way that Jalen or Leighton, really can't. I honestly think, you mentioned Keanu Neal, that might be the biggest impediment to him getting on the field, just because he obviously has some coverage skills himself.
Man, you put it right on the money with that. It's Neal is in the way of Jabril. And it's been so long with the Dallas Cowboys, collectively speaking, as it relates to the linebacker, Sean Lee or bust. That's how it's been. So when we finally got a chance to see LVE shine for his rookie year, we were like, yes, hallelujah. And then we all knew that Jalen would eventually get there, but it just took time. So now Jalen got there, and then last season was a horrible year for him, although he led the team in tackles. So if Keanu Neal, I just hope that Keanu Neal don't do the ha-ha Clinton Dix. That he was the guy that everybody thought that, okay, last season they brought him in, we finally have some safety experience, and then he didn't make the team.
What up, Law Nation?
Yeah, so when we look at everything, collectively speaking, I just hope that this training camp, that these linebacker core will shine, and we can finally have depth in those areas, because we didn't have it for a long time with the Dallas Cowboys. What's your thoughts on that? As far as depth, Cowboys linebackers.
It's among. I'm hesitant to say it's their deepest position, just because there's some question marks with Leighton. There's some question marks for Jalen. So you can't just say it's this like slam dunk. They're super deep there. Their deepest position is obviously wide receiver, just because the top is so incredible. But to your point, Law, nobody wants to see a ha-ha Clinton Dix year. But when that happened at safety last year, they were screwed because they had no other option. right? But like
Right.
if Keanu Neal is HaHa Clinton Dix, they aren't screwed, right? Like they're not, sitting pretty or anything, but like they do. We didn't even mention Francis Bernard. I know you mentioned him earlier, but you have a lot of options. We had Francis Bernard on our show a few months ago. He talked about wanting to get really good on special teams this year, and so now you got linebackers who are really good at different things. So I do think they're really deep. And that depth, I mean, any depth can be challenged so quickly in the NFL. But I think that depth's going to rise to the top. Micah's going to get his opportunities because he's the first round pick. It's his show. I agree with you, James. He's going to be the leader of this defense sooner rather than later. And so those opportunities are more natural for him. But I do think it will be some sort of, rise to the top, some sort of battle of the ultimate, battle of the fittest, survival of the fittest, whatever it is, where Jabril just makes it impossible to, we've seen the Cowboys do that before. And like Jason Witten's a great example. Play somebody who was not as athletic or not as talented anymore as players behind him. And I think that this isn't that coaching staff, which is why they might be more inclined to play Jabril once he does start to shine.
I got a real quick question on that, RJ, before we get off of that topic. Would you explore the trade that, it's been talked about with LVE with trade? People thinking about, looking at him. Let's say Jabril Cox gets a little bit of tick, maybe 3 or 4 games in, and you start to see a little bit of things, and the trade deadline is before the, mid-season. Would you explore options like that if you got a pretty good deal for LVE?
The like wild person in me always wants to, right? Like, yeah, trade, get assets, look to the future, be smart, be forward thinking. This is one time where I would not. We've seen, with Leighton Vander Esch, 2 years ago, how valuable veteran depth is, right? Like Sean Lee came in for Leighton Vander Esch. One of the best Sean Lee games ever was 2 years ago against the Rams in December. I didn't think Sean Lee still had that in him at that point, and he was incredible. He had an interception. It was awesome. And so we've said it several times, but this is now an NFL where you're playing 17 games. You're going to be rotating your linebackers a lot. I mean, if Leighton is your depth piece, you're doing pretty all right for yourself. Like if he gets relegated to that, if Jabril does shine, like we're saying, and all Leighton is kind of collecting dust for you, I would rather. I mean, we know this offense is going to be great. This defense is not a house built on cards or a house of cards, but it is a little bit more precarious. And so I don't want to take any of that depth away, especially when we saw just last season how, we know this generally, but how much depth is needed year in and year out for the Cowboys specifically, but obviously in the NFL as a whole.
I had a general question for you. Big, we good on time?
You got like about 10 for Dad coming.
So real quick, I had a general question about the media. Okay. My question to you is, it seems to me, but I'm on the outside looking in. I don't have the media passes and the credentials. And by the way, good job on losing some weight, because you was a little bit chubby back in the day. Now I can tell you, you slimmed up.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
You worked it off. I can tell. I saw the picture behind Jerry. You was kind of like this, but now you slim and trim, RJ. No, but
congratulations.
No, but I had a general question about the media. What is the access like under Mike McCarthy versus the access under Gary? It seems like it's much less. Is it me, or did they really make some changes for the team to kind of make stuff more secure? Am I looking at that right, or is it all the same?
I think it's hard to properly compare when Mike McCarthy's only season was the COVID year, right? Or like everything is Zoom, and like it's a little bit different. Now, Jason Garrett, the times I've been around, is he's a different guy in person. When the microphones aren't off, he's a really charming person, actually. One year when I was at training camp, after he did his daily press conference, off to the side, he told this story. It was this old, I think, Buddhist proverb about, a Buddhist being chased by some lions and stuff like that, and eating some it was, I was hanging like with bated breath, and I never would have imagined, Jason Garrett like captivating me like that. And so he's a really, smooth guy in some senses. And I don't think any of us look at Mike McCarthy and think smooth. Now, the things that are, I think visible to the world, like I think one example is the removal of numbers during the blue and white scrimmage last year. That was weird. But on one hand, I think it was weird, but it's cool. Like we've all played Madden.
You again, RJ, this year. You want to do that in Cali this year, RJ? Don't do that. You know you lying. You lying. You lying, RJ. You lying.
I remember reading everybody's made a big deal about how Mac Jones doesn't have a jersey number yet for the Patriots, and I remember reading this really long article like 6 years ago about how Bill Belichick won't put his skill position players in their jersey numbers in practice. Because whether you think this is lame or cheeky or stupid or cool, it's because he wants his team to learn players' body movement, right? Like to not become self-reliant on number 84, like out of peripheral vision and stuff like that. Yeah, it is. And so you can, but like when you're Bill Belichick and you do that crap, you're a genius. It's deep. It's awesome, right? Like you're a visionary. But when you're Mike McCarthy and you rip the numbers off, you're this dude who's wasting everybody's time. And so that's just kind of the way it goes. I will say that, a radio station I do a lot of stuff with is ESPN San Antonio, and every week they would have Jason Garrett on, and it would always be on Mondays at 4:30. Like, you know how Garrett was, like same routine.
How you doing, guys?
Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy insists that his weekly interview with them is on Friday mornings, and they have to record it at 6 a.m. That's the only time he'll do it. Like he won't do it in the afternoon. He won't do it in the evening. They have to record it that morning, and then they have to obviously wait and play it later on in the day when they're on the radio. So he's different, and I think he's I get some heat sometimes, our commenters, because I guess I'm kind of caping for McCarthy, but when you think about it, the guy spent an entire year planning, right? Like, this is how I'm going to do things. When I get back, this is how April's going to go. This is how May's going to go. And like day one, that gets tossed out the window. And I think he's kind of Fred Flintstone-y, where he's just, he does things his own way. And like when we mentioned Tyrone Crawford, when he accidentally revealed that Tyrone Crawford was retiring, like people give him crap for that kind of stuff. That was like his first in-person press conference in like 2 years. You know what I mean? So the guy is still kind of matriculating and getting back in. And so, and Jason Garrett, to that point, at the end had spent a decade as the most visible person for the most visible professional sports team in the world. So Mike McCarthy, I think, is less polished and has some ways to go. But, with the world returning to normal, God willing, I think he'll get there in his own way.
Yep. We'll have a winning season as long as he don't cut that beard off.
So let me ask you this, RJ. Is asking about Mike McCarthy. This is his second year. Is he on the hot seat?
I think he would have to. It would have to be an implosion, but like an implosion where, like Dak is healthy, right? Like there's no real excuse, right? Like everything went their way. They caught some breaks, whatever. Everybody's healthy, and they just suck. Like that's the only way I think he would really be on the hot seat. But I mean, I'm not willing to give him a pass. But last year you had COVID, and everybody had COVID, and that's fair. Dak gets hurt, Tyron gets hurt, Lyle gets hurt, Leighton Vander Esch gets hurt. I mean, like there's a number of challenges that he has to face, and they still won 6 games. My buddy that covers the Eagles for us at SB Nation, he insists that if you put together a score based on a team's head coach and quarterback, that Washington would be better than Dallas with the combination of Ron Rivera and Ryan Fitzpatrick, because he believes Mike McCarthy is that bad. And I love Ron Rivera, like Randy Gregory. His personal story is incredible. What he went through last year, I mean, there's not a bad word you could say about the guy. But as a football coach, I'm just not impressed. They won one more game than the Cowboys last year. When the Cowboys, they swept the Cowboys, and the first time was the Cowboys' first game without Zach Martin. And the second time, as we all know, the Cowboys were on a short week dealing with an incredible emotional tragedy. And so I just don't put a lot of stock into Ron Rivera. They got swept by the Giants. I mean, their wins were they swept the Cowboys, they beat the Bengals when Joe Burrow got hurt, and the 49ers with Nick Mullins. I mean, I don't know why the world thinks so highly of Ron Rivera compared to Mike McCarthy. That has been a real weird thing for me this offseason.
Oh man, can somebody drop that clue bomb? Can y'all? That's some good stuff right there. RJ.
Hold on real quick.
Come
and
on,
we got David Hellman in the building.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. I'm so
The
tired
only
of watching
bad thing,
fam.
the only bad thing is David Hellman kicked out Big Game James because that means Big Game James sent him the wrong link.
Oh no!
David
Wait,
Hellman's
how do
Big
we
Game
fix that?
James.
Yes, David, you kicked him out. You did.
Hey,
It's your
all I
fault.
did-
All
I did was I just clicked the link he sent me, man. I didn't know.
but
Come
you know
on,
I'm gonna
James,
blame
what's
somebody,
going on?
so I'm gonna blame you to not play with you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Oh my God.
How you doing?
Hey, well, my Wi-Fi clearly sucks. That's how I'm doing. What's up with y'all? How's it going? What's up, RJ?
How goes it, Dave? Nice hoodie. You're looking sharp.
Thanks,
looking fresh.
man. Appreciate you.
Hey, who'd they lose to in 2019 or 2018? Sorry, who'd they lose to?
2018. You don't even remember the year that it happened, so I'm not going to dignify that with That's
Nice.
no, not going to do it. Can't get me. You're not going to draw me off sides in June of 2021. But yeah, I'm good, y'all. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
now we gonna have to figure this out, but we gonna get through it. All right. So it's supposed to be Big Game James, RJ, me, Boss, and Law, but now it's the two media guys on together. So RJ, how you doing on time? I want to be courteous to what you got.
I'm good. I don't know if I have to leave so that James can
No,
get
you
back
don't.
in. I don't want to
You
disrupt
don't.
y'all.
The only thing that's thrown off now are the name tags. And hey, you know, everybody know when you're dealing with podcasts and that you deal with imperfections. That's okay. We not meeting people like you guys yet. All right. So I got a couple of quotes from you, David, and I want to kind of go through it with you. Just because I thought it was very, very interesting. I want to get your take. Now mix it in with RJ, and now Law and I gonna have to figure this out. All right. So we gonna start with you real quick. Let me cue you up real quick because I thought you had something that was very, very interesting, and I want to just kind of go through it. Here it is.
Funny thing is, like, okay, and I know, you know, the staff has changed, and we're seeing different trends, right? Like they drafted Quentin Bohanna. You know, they haven't valued one technique up for a long time, but it seems like maybe that's changing. But what's funny to me is,
I want to pause right there, just real quick, because see, you let out some gold that with most people, I think they wouldn't have caught it. Is the difference in Dan Quinn and his investment into the interior with the 1 tech and the 3 tech. He went with more size versus Rod went. I used to say Rod used to go with the cheap seats, but he used to make it work. I want you to kind of expound on that, and then, if you don't mind, forecast how you think that different is going to play out with the Dallas Cowboys having I would say, more size in the interior, if you don't mind. Okay, so I think what's going on is Big Game James is now trying to get back, and I think he kicked out David. So, all right, so you heard that, RJ. So let's kind of talk about that real quick, and we go get through it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can't make Dave's point for him, obviously. But I will say I like Quentin Bohanna. I really do think it's cool that the Cowboys drafted him, just because it is a step in the right direction for them in terms of evaluating that big 1 tech trash can dude. Still early on in his career, obviously. His career hasn't even started yet, but I am excited about what he can bring, and I'm more excited than anything that the Cowboys are paying attention to that.
Right, because see, one thing that we say on this show all the time, RJ, is Big Game and James and we always talk about that what they did with this offseason was basically what we call the Rod Marinelli apology tour. So it's like all their moves is saying, I'm sorry, Rod, like we got it wrong. It's exactly what they're doing. Except they kind of went, it's almost like you got a lady, RJ? You got a lady?
I'm a married man, happily married man.
All right. So you're going to relate with this. As a married man, you mess up. Like all men, we mess up on occasion. But then you have to try to get it right. You don't want to try to get it right by doing something you've done before, right? You want to kind of up the last apology. And I think that's what they did with Dan Quinn, where they really gave him the size that they was not doing with Rod. And so I was asking, because obviously it was David who made the point, but obviously as an insider guy, I wanted to get your perspective on that and try to forecast what is that size likely going to do with Urban and Quentin to this defense. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I think it helps improve the run game, theoretically and certainly over time. Which you're right, like it is. I see it a little bit differently. Like when it comes to relationships, it's like if somebody left you and they were like, boss, you're always watching the game. Like you're always on your phone. When we go out to dinner or whatever. And so the next time up, you're like, I'm going to be different. I'm not going to do that. So the next person that comes in your life, you go out to dinner, phone goes in the pocket. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm going to be the polar opposite. Because those results didn't get me anything, and so it's like really, really fixing your wrongs and becoming a better person for the person who's next. In this case, it's Dan Quinn.
Absolutely. Did you have anything on that, Law?
Well, just looking at it and just trying to make sure that this relationship is okay. I think that the Dallas Cowboys is starting off a whole lot better because the previous administration, we had Nick Hayden, we had Jack Crawfords of the worlds, we had who else we had inside? Of course, even Irving.
Jason Hatcher, Henry Melton, all those dudes.
Right. And even though David Irvin panned out a little bit, but he had the off-the-field scenarios, and Jason Hatcher was the last person to have double-digit sacks from the interior. I mean, if we can get some of that out of, at least half of that out of these guys, we're in a better situation. We talked about earlier this episode about Randy Gregory as well as the D-Laws of the world improving. The best way for them to improve, because we know they're going to get double teams, will be having the actual guys to win their one-on-ones. Can Osa win his one-on-ones? Can Tristan Hill wake up and say, hey, I'm ready to play that 3-tech and get upfield and win my one-on-one? Can the Gallimore, can he step it up? Will he not have a sophomore slump? So even Brent Urban being one of the top guys against the run. So we're going to be looking at all of those things, and not just there. If the Dallas Cowboys hit on those interior guys, newsflash, Cowboy Nation, linebackers play better, safety play better, the interior, the core. So those are the things that we are looking for. And hopefully, that this coach, Quinn, although in Atlanta land, they said he failed because he had too many responsibilities. Hopefully now that all he had to do is focus on that front, woo! I heard that he's a technician and he can help out these guys with techniques and these sorts of hands-on coach. If we can establish that, our only battle cry for next year will be for other teams not to pull him away, because we want that continuity so he can be here for multiple years and keep that relationship going, right?
And also, RJ, just to let you know, if you got to go, that's fine, because we obviously able to kind of switch the scenes to where we can talk amongst us three. I don't want you to feel like we're holding you because, we had a slight technical difficulty. That's figuring itself out. James working on that right now. So if you want to hang with us, you're more than welcome. But if you got to go, I want to be courteous to the promise that I made that we wouldn't keep you too long. So.
No, I'm enjoying hanging out with you guys. I'll hang out till Dave gets back. Just so we all, I don't want to just you get with the four horsemen here. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I can't, you can't go from four horsemen to three amigos. It doesn't work that way. So once Dave gets in, we'll pass the baton. It's the Olympics are here, so 4 batons or 1 baton, 4 people, whatever it is.
What a sport. What a sport. So, all right. What battle? Oh, no. I got more stuff that you talked about. No, I got more stuff, man. Like, cause he got a lot of content, so it was easy to kind of pull from you know, his analysis from his show, and then obviously we want you to plug your show before you get out of here. But I want to play this, and then let's kind of talk about
that he was looking for in particular players, and the Cowboys went in on it with Nashon Wright, and it paid off. But kind of like we talked about Chauncey Golston, I don't know that I see a situation where Nashon Wright is getting a lot of play time early on in his NFL career, just because, I mean, there are a lot of other, opportunities, right? There's a lot of other, players who are going to take those opportunities. Not that there are opportunities for Nashon and saying there are a lot, but I mean, you're talking about him trying to beat out not just Trayvon Diggs, not just Anthony Brown, not just Jordan Lewis, but you throw in Kelvin Joseph in that mix. It's hard to see Nashon Wright really kind of making a serious impact his rookie season, which again, anything is possible, but it doesn't seem likely is my overall point.
Thank you.
Oh, Law said thank you. Since you said thank you, Law.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, Law brought up Reggie Robinson earlier, and that's the same issue, right? Like Nashon Wright's just at the bottom of the depth chart, and that's okay. And honestly, obviously, a lot of people had a lot of questions about Nashon Wright when he was drafted. I'm all for him having a lot of time to learn, to grow, to develop, to become the guy that the Cowboys clearly saw in the third round.
Yeah, and it's so Lau, did you have something real quick? Because I was gonna step in.
No. All I was saying is just thank you, because so many people saying, "Hey, Nashon Wright, he will be the guy. He's better than Deion right now." So and that's just how it goes. I'm sitting here hitting me up, Lord, you better watch out, this dude. I was like, come on, man, it just got helmet and basketball shorts on right now. Let the training camp come. We'll be out there in Oxnard. We'll give you guys the real understanding of what they can do out there on the field, opposed to this fluff stuff. It's a long off season, so pump the brakes. But thank you for that, RJ, for putting that out there. He got an uphill battle to go through.
Hold on real quick. Oh man, no, it ain't working right now. So here we go, man. God dog. Anyway, so now I see a small way for Nashon to play. I see a small window because it's almost like Dak. In this game, we also know a lot of this is luck, right? Like, it took a lot of freakish injuries to get the destiny to play out for Dak. Maybe destiny is on this guy's side because Joseph comes in with COVID, and why Joseph has, well, I'm not going to say he has COVID, alleged and rumored, right? But at the same time, I mean, Wright made the best of it, right? And one of the things any coach, any defense is going to prioritize is getting the ball. And he showcased that. So he would, to me, I just want to kind of say it like this. I want to get your opinion on this, RJ. I always say this from the game, from the movie Gladiator, that if you win the crowd, you win your freedom. I think the only way Wright can kind of maybe not fall into the forecast that you made is he gonna have to stay on this hot run, similar to Dak, right? Because when Dak started off, nobody thought he would unseat Romo, but he stayed hot to where you couldn't deny him. I think it would have to be continuous luck and him winning over the crowd, continuing to make plays, or I think it's gonna play out just like you said. Just like you said.
Yeah, I think Dak's a good example. I think Trayvon Diggs last year, right? Like Chidobe Awuzie wound up on the COVID list. Like, opportunities just opened up for him. He made the most of them. Got the 2 picks in Philly. Really got the crowd going, to your Gladiator point. I like that, and I think that will happen. That's kind of what I think happens to Jabril Cox potentially this year. Is the crowd comes, the amphitheater comes, it all is kind of a domino effect.
All right, so I'm going to tell you what's going on, and I'm sorry for this.
We building the plane.
I emailed the link to James. David Hellman's link is in James' email. I don't think he know that. He's sending him his link. That's why every time David comes in, it kicks him out.
Okay.
So it happened again because he sent me another one and it wouldn't, like, I couldn't get in for whatever reason. So this is, look, I'm sorry, James. This isn't my fault.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, I got you. I'm gonna fix this. It's not gonna be as pretty, but we go get through it. And RJ, we don't have to hold you. If you okay, we'll get through it. All right.
This is good.
I think if I'm leaving you in the capable hands of Dave Hellman, somebody who I would trust with my life, honestly, I think y'all are in great shape. But yeah, I hope Dave has a good time. I appreciate you guys for having me. Big fans of you guys. You guys are really trailblazers when it comes to Cowboys YouTube content. So really had a lot of fun. Had some good times being here, and looking forward to next month, to training camp, to preseason, and to the Cowboys going 17-0. Obviously,
let's go.
RJ, also plug your channels.
Yeah.
Let everybody know where to find you, because we combined in the stream, so it's going to all our pages. So we want to maximize your reach. So where can everybody find you?
Everything that we do is localized or centralized under the name Blogging the Boys. So our YouTube channel is Blogging the Boys, Facebook page Blogging the Boys, on Twitter at Blogging the Boys. Somebody was a jerk and took Blogging the Boys on Instagram, so we had to go with blogging.the.boys. But we made it happen. We've been having a lot of fun doing a lot of different things on YouTube lately this offseason too. We'll have to get you guys over there and have a nice little chat and kind of set everybody straight. Once Randy Gregory hits the 8 sacks we talked about, we'll break bread. We'll have the Whataburgers.
Yeah.
And we'll have a good time.
No, I'm over 10. I said it. I declared it. And this is what I'm gonna do, RJ. If he don't get 10 sacks, this is exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna marinate some crow. All right.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna oven cook it, and I'm gonna eat it live.
Wow.
That's how bullish I am on Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that doesn't happen.
I hope that don't happen either. Because the only bird I want to eat,
going, guys.
I only want to eat those Eagles. That's the only bird we want to eat this year. Come on, let's go.
Later, RJ.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, RJ.
Yeah, good one.
All right. So we got David Hellman in the building. This is what I'm gonna do.
What?
Big Game James Hillman.
I'm gonna send Big Game the link. Law, you can talk to to David, and then I
How did this happen? I'm bummed out that I'm causing so much consternation.
No, we gonna get him in here.
Yeah,
it's gonna work too.
out,
it's
man.
just not gonna be perfect, but it's okay. But y'all go ahead for right now, and I'll go ahead.
What was the topic?
Get James back in here.
Oh, he was talking about interior defense anyhow, right? We want.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
I came in right after he was done talking.
Okay. I'm gonna play what you talked about. We gonna talk about that because I thought it was very interesting, and I thought it was something that a lot of people. You said it so fast. I think it's easy for people to gloss over what you said. So I'm gonna play it real quick, and then we'll talk about it real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go.
All right.
1 second. There it is.
Most of the time I've worked here, they have anything is okay, and I know the staff has changed, and we're seeing different trends, right? Like they drafted Quentin Bohanna. They haven't valued one technique up for a long time, but it seems like maybe that's changing. But what's funny to me is most of the time I've worked here, they haven't valued one technique, defensive tackle. But it kind of makes sense because they've found production there without.
Oh. So you saying it so quick, it's easy to go over your head. Let's talk about that though, because that's a very, very solid point that you don't hear too many people talk about. It's it's the fact that we really invested under Dan Quinn into the interior like we never have. So this was the question that I had for you before we had the technical glitch. So we know Rod had, and I'm gonna say it very politically correct, I'm gonna say he had a top 10 defense that was more so based on controlling the ground game. So with the increase of size in the interior, what do you forecast under Dan Quinn? Because we're bigger. We're bigger, David, and I did just send a link to James, so he should be coming in.
Oh, good. Okay. What do I forecast? And that, man, if y'all want me to be honest, I feel I feel more gun shy than I've ever felt heading into a Cowboys season, and that's yes. And I'll tell you why. I was talking to somebody about this like this week probably, or maybe it was last week. I've never felt so confident in a Cowboys team as I did last year.
Oh, okay.
And I know, I know there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. Dak got hurt. Everybody got hurt. But like last year, I'm a fence rider. I'm the guy that usually thinks the Cowboys are gonna go like 9-7, 8-8. And last year I was like, no, this is a 12-4 team. This is a team that should win 12 games. They're really good. And then obviously it was a disaster. So like I'm having a hard time buying into the hype at this time of year. Now, okay, having said all of that, I do agree with everything you just said. It seems to me that they know how big of a problem the run defense was, and they've really done a lot to try to fix it. You know, probably for my money, at least the most cost-effective free agent signing, maybe even the best free agent signing, was a run-stuffing defensive lineman, Brent Urban. And then they go and they use 3 draft picks on defensive linemen. Osa, Chauncey Golston, Quentin Bohanna. And then for that matter, they draft Micah Parsons, who you would imagine is going to have a role in the run game in terms of stopping ball carriers. So it sure looks like they've thrown a lot of resources into it. So does that mean they're going to be the best in the league? Absolutely not. But they sure as hell better be better than worst, which is what they were last year. I guess that's where I stand on it.
And we got James back. I sent him a new link. James, whenever you're ready, man, you can kick it off, my brother. We can hear you.
Hey.
You can hear me? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, you in.
I can hear you, yeah.
Oh, shoot. What's up, Dave? You know Dave, my dog. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
Dave,
I'm sorry I kicked you off the damn broadcast twice.
It don't matter. I was sitting there listening. I said, hurry up and get me in here because that's my dog and he talking what we about to talk about and talking all good because he ain't drinking the Kool-Aid.
Wait a minute.
No, hold on.
Should be drinking the Kool-Aid.
Well, hold up. But see, no, he ain't drinking the Kool-Aid, and that's what I talked about. And what did I say this year is 2021? We'll see.
Yes, sir. I love that attitude.
We'll see. There we go. See, that's why me and Dave was cool.
Oh, okay. So y'all cool because y'all the pessimists because Mike Nolan
we the realists. We the realists.
And now y'all want to be the pessimists. And now
we the realists. That's what we're the realists.
It's not.
Tell them, Dave. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him, Dave. They just lies. They lies.
It's not pessimism. It's not pessimism to say, show me.
Exactly. We just trying to be the show me state this year. We tired of, like you said, Dave, last year it felt good. We got a new coach. We were excited. Everything was good. And then bam, wah. So it's like, now, no, man, I'm not going to fall for that again. You got a new defensive coordinator in place. You still got a lot of moving parts. You do have your offense that's still coming back, but you still have a lot of moving parts on this defense. It looks and sounds great and it feels good, but that don't mean it's really going to work. So I got to see preseason. I got to see these training camp. I got to see a little more.
I feel both.
I will say this though.
Yeah.
No. But I will like. I'm not trying to be like the biggest bummer in the world because the beauty of it is. Like, the defense doesn't have to be the best in the world. They just got to be fine.
Right.
You know? They just got to be fine. Because this offense is what's going to win you games. And we know the East isn't anything to get excited about. It's probably the worst division in football. So you don't even have to be like an amazing team to win this division. So that's where I do feel confident is like, okay, the Cowboys are capable of winning this division, even with a bad defense. And if they can somehow turn it into a decent defense, then you really might have something.
So where were you in 2016 as far as this season prediction? And where were you in 2018 on this team as far as season prediction?
So 16, I mean, I was definitely like in a bad spot in 16 because, like, I mean, I'm sorry, who actually believed that Dak was going to be Dak right off the bat? You know, like
Right.
And I heard y'all talking about training camp. You know, I think it was RJ was talking about like winning people over. But like before, like nobody thought that was going to happen until it happened. Like nobody saw that coming ahead of time.
No.
So
nobody.
2016, and that even with the amazing preseason that Dak had, I was like, okay,
We were still like, eh.
I was like, will they still be relevant when Tony comes back? That seems like a tall order for a rookie to handle. 2018, man,
it was crazy.
I'm trying to think back. 2018, honestly, I feel like I was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit because I feel like I believed that whole narrative that like receiver by committee, right? Like
for some reason, so you was on that team.
No, I know.
I fell for it too, Dave.
I know. Like I mean, maybe I wasn't sitting there like I wasn't like, oh, Des who, but I was just like, yeah, they can make this work. They've got Zeke,
Right.
They got this crazy, which goes back to my point. Everybody's excited about their team in June. Everybody's excited about their team. The only people in the NFL that aren't excited about their team right now are probably Houston Texans fans. And everybody else in the league is like, they don't even know. They don't even know what we got for them this year. So I've been burned before, man. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh, the only reason why I was asking those questionings there is because if it's a trend when you predict that the Dallas Cowboys are going to do good and we do bad, and if you predict when the Cowboys are going to do bad and we do good, continue to predict that the Cowboys are going to do bad and we're going to do this thing the right way. So that's the only reason why I was asking, by the way.
I'll predict like a 4-win season and they'll finally win the damn Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, let's go. Do that on the shows.
Bobby Belt is in here. My dog Digi. He said he believed in Dak from the rip, and I think he got the skins to prove it. I think he said it in 2016. He's got the skins.
He was throwing receipts up there today. That's fine.
Yeah, he was throwing the receipts today.
And Bobby also said
the number of people.
Yeah, Bobby also said that you would never be Mickey Spagnola. So over here as well. Appreciate you, Bobby Bell. That's what he said over here.
And Bobby, we need to get you on next week too. Y'all know y'all just got y'all feet kicked up waiting on training camp. Come on now, y'all come over here and talk some ball with us now. Let's go. But anyway, now you did keep talking too, David, and it got better as you talk. See, that was just the A side. It's B-side to Dave. Dave kept talking, y'all. And listen, I want y'all to listen, because, see, we going to have a real discussion today, all right? Kick your feet up. You know, you got your headband on like Law, so I expect nothing but the real today. Let's go.
Like, they've sort of been right. Not really, but like Terrell McClain, they got good use out of him. Antoine Woods, for an undrafted guy that they plucked off the scrap heap, they got great value out of that. They treat safety the same way, and it bites them in the ass every year. And out of that. They treat safety the same way, and it bites them in the ass every year. Off the scrap heap, they got great value out of that. They treat safety the same way, and it bites them in the ass every year, and they don't change their mind. Whether, way back when I first got here, it was Will Allen. He made it like 5 weeks into the season. Clinton Dix didn't make it out of training camp. They don't spend and they don't get production out of it, but they don't change their mind about it. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think the thing that you...
Okay. And the point was excellent. I didn't even take it like a shot. It was just facts. It was just facts. He laid out a 5-minute soliloquy that was perfect on the safety situation. You could do it no better. The way that Rod treated defensive tackle is the way that safety, but see, he was saying it worked with Rod, but it doesn't work in safety, but yet it still happens year in and year out. Can you please expound? And let me get some tissue so I can cry.
I appreciate that, because like it's true. Like, we know the defensive tackle position hasn't been great on this team, but like I just said in the clip, it kind of worked, right? Like you invest small, but you get good play out of it. Like they have had serviceable defensive tackle play. When was the last time they had a good safety? When was the last time? I don't know because it hasn't happened in the time that I've covered the damn team. I'll tell you that right now. I'm just thinking about, like, you know, they don't invest draft picks. Like J.J. Wilcox is the biggest draft pick they've spent at safety in the last like 15 years. They've never spent big money on one. The guys that they spend small money on never, ever work out. Like if you go back and think about it, everybody was like, oh my God, they invested in a safety. They got Clinton Dix. They gave him $3 million guaranteed, which is nothing by NFL standards. That is not real free agent money by NFL standards. So if that is the top end of what you're willing to spend at safety, what does that say about every other investment that they've made at the position? You know, Darian Thompson, who's nice guy, good special teams player, but that's a guy that they've leaned on to play significant safety snaps in the last 2-3 years, and it just hasn't worked out. And even though it never works out, they do it over and over and over again Stephen Jones jokes about it. Stephen Jones is like, oh, he's like, that poor safety position, we'll fix it one year. And I'm just like, why don't you want to fix it now? It's bad every year. So that has kind of become like my pet cause. I'm the guy that's always mad about the safeties. So I'm happy to do that.
Thank you. Please. Thank you. We need more. And see, this is what made me sad. I don't want to hog the mic. I'm going to sit back after I say this, okay? I'm going to sit all the way back. The guys, I know they got a lot to say. But this is what I'm going to say, Dave. I looked at safety a little bit, and it's even frustrating to me, and I want to get your take on this because sometimes I think we let good guys even get away. Like Josh Jones, right? So who was 6'2", 220, ran a 4.4, was always a better player and better drafted player than Xavier Woods. Day one. He was a Dallas Cowboy. He just got a small little contract with the Jaguars. But every time I check out his tape, he definitely will be a day one starter in Dallas. So it's almost they invest in they don't invest in the safety, and then sometimes it seems like when they get lucky, some of the guys don't stay, like the Ha-Has and the Josh Jones and the Georgia Locals. I don't get what's going on with safety. Like, where it's an eye breakdown. That's the only way I can say it. It's like somebody's eyes are not good at that position, just to me, or they don't take it serious. It's almost like you said, they look at it almost expendable, like they used to do with DT, and they just continue to do the same thing. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that as well, on guys that we let get away.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think it's a value thing. I just don't think. I think that they think they don't see it as important in the sense that they're like, well, if we have a good pass rush and we have good cornerbacks, then damn near anybody can play safety for us.
Right.
And the frustrating thing is, like, which, you know, the Cowboys haven't really had a top tier defense probably since what, like 2009, give or take. So, to be fair, they haven't had a good enough defense for us to even know that. But again, like year after year, they trot this strategy out and it never works. And, you know, it's very exciting and encouraging that DeMonte Kazee is already practicing and it seems like he's 100% ready to go. But I mean, this is a guy that they signed to like a $1 million contract. He's clearly not. He's not a guy that they have a lot of faith in. Let's put it that way. If they did, they would have given him a lot more money than they did. Same thing with Jaron Kearse, you know, like Jaron Kearse, I think he started like 8 games in his career. Again, they gave him a very small amount of money. Always follow the money when you want to know like how good a front office feels about somebody that they're adding to the team. So again, I don't want to call these guys busts before they play a snap of Cowboy football, but I've been on this ride for 8 years now and it hasn't worked out. So It just, for whatever reason, I think it might be the position that the Cowboys value least on the entire football field. For some reason, I don't know why. I wish I had an answer for that.
I had that questioning too. Like, which one do they value the less, like, or the most? The defensive tackle or the safety, whether it's free safety or strong. But one of the things go ahead.
No, well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like, hey, they all of a sudden they're investing in defensive tackle quite a bit. Like, again, you spent a second round pick on Tristan Hill.
Yep.
You spent a third round pick on Neville Gallimore. You spent a third round pick on Oso Odigizua. So that's 3 day 2 picks in a row. And on top of that, again, like, Brent Urban didn't get crazy money, but they signed him to like a decent little 1-year deal that pays pretty well for a run stuffing nose tackle. So, it's still something that they traditionally haven't looked at, but they're spending a lot more at that position right now than they are at safety. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, you're right. I just look at it like this. The Cowboys tend to get too cute with it. They will draft a cornerback and say, hey, let's put him at safety. Or even when the Jones kid was on this team, they was like, hey, he's a safety, but let's put him at linebacker. Let's try to play him close to the LOS. And, so it seems as if, though, the Cowboys just continue to get cute with it. So what they're doing this year, they sell these things. They sell the curse to us. They sell the DeMonte, and they tell us, hey, Malik Hooker, although he didn't pass his physical, or we're not 100% sure on his medicals, we like KZ over him. Instead of bringing him in at least through training camp for a cup of coffee, for crying out loud, they would fall on the sword and say, hey, this is the guy that we're selling everybody to. And on top of that, take a look at Curse. He's doing a wonderful job over here in Dallas Cowboys land. And watch, Israel Mukuamu, although he's a cornerback, they're going to sell the fact that he's going to play safety. So there's a lot of, like you said, red flags. But I'm going to try to be positive. I ain't going to be like you and Big Game James on this right now. But I'm going to try to be positive right now and say this is going to work for 2021.
We're just being real. Hey, y'all could call me a Debbie Downer if you want to. It's real.
What you feeling?
I agree.
Go ahead. Tell me what y'all feeling about that.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to like bum anybody out, and I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about this team in this season, but how many years are we gonna fall for this before you say like, okay, I ain't ready to buy this until I see.
I ain't drinking the Kool-Aid. I ain't drinking the Kool-Aid. See, that's the saying came out of nowhere, Dave. I think one day is just talking like I ain't drinking the Kool-Aid and just kind of running with it, and it's just the truth. Like, hey, Kool-Aid is great, but you know what? Just don't want to jump right in and drink that, because too many times we've seen it before where we had expectations of the team, that felt good about the team, felt good going into camp, felt good going into preseason, only to get let down and always falling short, not good enough, being competitive but not competitive enough. When the time is to really take the next step, you don't do it. When you have a division where the division is okay, let's say you win a couple games, the next team will lose us 3 games. All you got to do is win 2 games and you take the lead, and they don't do it. Things like that, Dave, just are the things that frustrate with me, because every time we're there to take the next step, they don't. So that's why I have to say we'll see.
100% agree, my man. I love it. Y'all pulled the B-roll of like my camera work. I love this. I'm loving it.
No, we got you, Dave. We got you. We trying to copy off of Dallas.com. If we able to even have.
I appreciate that.
We okay. Yeah. All right.
Hey, Dave, I want to ask a question. My fault, boss. Go ahead.
Oh, you good? No, you good. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you a question, since you got to see a little bit of the team, over in Dallas and things of that nature. Who is somebody that was really sticking out to you?
I love being a Cowboy
on the offensive side of the ball.
My fault. Go ahead, man.
Okay, and I was just saying, who's kind of been, who really just stood out to you and like, man, I'm really excited to see this person this season. I think he's really going to show a lot of people a lot of things. What's one player on the team?
Did you say offensive side of the ball?
I say offense, but I'm saying whoever now.
Okay, well, I mean, it's boring. It's boring, but on off. I mean, it's Dak. I'm pumped. I'm pumped about Dak, man. He's
gonna go crazy.
I think he is. I really think he is. Like, it's so obvious how hard he's been working. He was there today in, like, you know, it's the middle of the dead of June. And also I'm watching the College World Series on my TV right now. Like, he's in Omaha at the College World Series, but like before he flew up there to watch the game, he was like getting it in at the Star today. Like, he's on his grind, like big time.
Dave, let me play this real quick. That's based on what you're saying real quick, and we'll get into Dak.
Okay.
Be real easy. But you can't say this offense, you can't say defense. What's the biggest strength of this team?
The biggest strength of this team is that they have one of the 5 or 6 best quarterbacks in the league who has a tremendous amount of upside and the potential to be one of the 2 or 3 best in the league at some point in the future. And
whoa.
How's that for a statement?
I love it.
How's that for a statement?
See, because I noticed something about you, Dave. You say like real hot takes, but you put them in 5-second clips. So you gotta.
I talk fast. I talk real. I gotta get it. I got a lot to say. I gotta get it all out.
And see, you said a lot. You said he's a top 5 to 6 now, and I expect him to be a top 3 to 2 in the near future. Oh man.
Yeah, I feel good about it. Actually, as long as I'm hot take, I was thinking about that. Which, like, you know, I'm too old to like get mad about off-season rankings and like, you know, dumb arbitrary lists about like who's good and who's bad. But like, everybody's real quick to anoint Josh Allen, and I just feel like nobody's given proper due to Dak Prescott. I don't know. We'll see. It'll all play out. But like, okay, I mean, for my money, the only quarterbacks, and like, I put Tom Brady in his own category. Like, I don't even know how you compare somebody to Tom Brady.
Right.
But I put like Mahomes, Rodgers, and Wilson, in my opinion, are better than Dak. But Rodgers is like 38, and Wilson's getting up there as well. So like, they're probably going to begin to decline. And then after those 3, I think you can make a case for Dak up against any of them. I think you can make a case for Dak against Josh Allen, against Lamar Jackson. I think he's definitely better than Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins and Matthew Stafford. I think the sky's the limit. And the beauty of it is, like, I don't have to convince anybody anymore, because the Cowboys signed him. And clearly, you don't give a guy $160 million if you don't think he can be that for you. So, man, it gets boring to talk about because it's so obvious, but I'm so excited to see what he can do this year. I mean, you know, they're going to be as good as he is. That's the bottom line. And I think he could be real, real, real good.
You know, separation is everything.
Like the forgotten man.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Before he was enumerated, before he got his big bag, and before they paid him, he was the talk of the town. Now he done got paid, and people forget the crazy pace that he was on. He was on a 6,600 yard pace.
Oh yeah.
And people sitting back like, we'll see.
We'll see.
But hey, this is important too, and I don't want to jinx it.
Okay.
This is as close as I can remember the Cowboys ever coming to just kind of sitting in the cut. Like, nobody's really talking about them. There's not any drama surrounding them. Like, I mean, we still got a month to go. Yeah. Knock on that wood. But like, there's no crazy contract disputes. Nobody's in the news for the wrong reasons. And nobody's really, like, there's not that much hype around the Cowboys right now, which is exactly where you want to be. Yeah. So hopefully they can just keep this up for another month.
Right.
You know, once training camp come
Let
out,
me knock
it's
on
gonna
wood,
be
too.
that. But we're gonna knock on some wood. Hey, Dave, talk to me about like the philosophy since we on the offense, and although I'm a defensive guy, but talk to me about the philosophy of all of these tall wide receivers that they brought in. Brandon Eagles, he's 6'4". Cyrus Mitchell, he's 6'5". T.J. Basher, 6'6". Semi Fehoko, he's 6'4" and still growing, looks like. Talk to me about all of those tall receivers and what are their chances of making this team, and also who Dak Prescott prefer to throw to, by the way, at this time.
That's going to be really interesting. And I think maybe the height thing is probably just because that's a body type that they lack on this offense.
Makes sense.
You know, I mean, Coop Lamb and Gallup are not huge. Like, they're not small, but they're not huge receivers. Noah Brown is probably the closest thing you have to like a big body receiver. But even still, he's 6'2". You know, he's got a big build, but he's not this big guy. So I think it's a body type that they don't have. And the other thing too is like there's one, maybe two roster spots up for grabs, in my opinion. So maybe the logic is you just grab a bunch of similar guys and try to fill it as best you can, because like we know the top three. And I think Cedric Wilson is damn near a lock to make this team. I don't think Noah Brown is a lock, but I wouldn't bet against him. And so that's 5 right there. And if you only keep 5, then these guys are in deep trouble. And even if you keep 6, that's only one roster spot. And, you know, I know that kind of goes back to my thing about offseason hype. Like, everybody is in love with Simi Fehoko right now, and I understand why, but he's not a lock to make this team at all. So that's gonna be a fun little free-for-all between all those guys. And I will say the other thing that's worth considering is only a few of them were really available during OTAs. Like Fehoko was available, Brandon Jones, the Iowa kid, was available. Brandon Eagles, the Texas kid, was available. But like T.J. Basher, he didn't really have much of a spring. He was dealing with an injury for most of it. Obviously, Amari Cooper sat out, which, I mean, that doesn't matter. He's going to be on the team, but that's just reps that he wasn't getting. So I'll be interested to see who kind of has the best leg up when training camp starts, because I do think of the names that we've all mentioned, Eagles, Jones, and Fehoko probably did the most work during the spring.
Do you pay Gallup? I threw it at you.
Oh, I can't. I'm not trying to be a wuss, but I don't know how you answer that question in June. Like, unless the only way that works is if Gallup was able to sign a team-friendly deal right now just to get some security. In which case, hell yeah, I'd sign him. But I don't think he would do that, because I think he's smart enough to realize how much money he could make if he just plays this thing out.
Yeah, I've said, Dave, that I don't think he's coming back, because unless it's just, to me, these next 2 years are tricky when you see the Amari Cooper contract and, you know, there's a possible out that you could have. Would you want to transition a CeeDee Lamb and then sign a Gallup and then get another receiver? You know what I mean? I think that's what's kind of tricky with me, but it'll just be hard for me to see. And now you got, and to me also, Dave, I want to get your question about this with Amari's injury history. I know it hasn't been major, but it's always been something since he's been here. And now it's something again.
You know,
would that factor in anything?
Okay, so I see the point there, but I just want to point this out. So yeah, if you want to put me on the spot and get me to answer you, the only way that I see Michael Gallup staying here is if Amari Cooper has an absolutely terrible year and, like, you know, he only plays like 5 or 6 games and he just has the worst year of his career. And if that happens and Gallup has an incredible year, then maybe you cut Cooper because the guarantees on his deal are done and you sign Gallup with the savings. But the thing is, everybody likes to talk about Amari Cooper like he's this injury-prone guy. He's never missed more than 2 games in a season in his entire career.
Right.
He didn't miss any games last year. He didn't miss any games in 2019. He missed 1 game in 2018, and he missed a couple games when he was in Oakland. And I know, he pulled out of the Jets game after 2 plays, and he wasn't in the Eagles game. I get that. Like, I'm not glossing over that. I understand it. But we're not talking about, like, when everybody's like, oh, he's got injury issues. Well, they've never really forced him out of too many games in his career. Like, the guy's been available for the vast majority of the time. So I don't worry about that as much as a lot of other people seem to.
Okay.
Well, we getting ready to hit training camp. So my battle, because I could play one of your other clips, but I'm going to just tell you about it because I don't want to just bore you to death. One of the things that you said, because you was talking about the strengths and weakness, and Nick put you on the spot, right?
He likes to do that.
Yeah, he put you on the spot. But you talked about the back end, right? And I've been thinking about the back end of our defense, the back 4, right? And Atlanta was very bad. And 2 of the starters on that bad secondary we acquired. That's 1. And then 2, I was just thinking, what's up? And me and Big Game James talk about this all the time. Why is Anthony Brown playing on the outside when he seems to be better in the nickel? And why is Jordan Lewis never getting another chance to play on the outside? Because I don't see the practices. I keep hearing rumors of practices. But I see the games. And in the games, I don't really kind of understand why the organization seems to vacillate between those two. Where, to me, it's obvious. Put Jordan Lewis on the outside while you're trying to figure it out. It'll make it harder for Josephs to actually beat out a guy that's a competitor, and it will make him have to really earn it. And Anthony Brown seems to be a fish in water in the slot. I want to just get your thoughts on that.
I like that a lot because I don't think Anthony Brown gets enough credit for how well he plays in the slot. If you want my honest opinion, I don't think organizationally they think Jordan has the length to play on the outside in the NFL, which is interesting because, not only did they draft him in the 3rd round, but they also just signed him to a big 2nd-year contract. Well, not big, but they signed him to a 2nd-year contract. And they immediately went and drafted all these much bigger corners. And it's like, well, Jordan's kind of the outlier here. Like, it doesn't really seem like he fits in your plans, and yet you signed him anyway. But I don't think he fits their parameters for what they want in a boundary corner, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying I agree with that. I would like to see Jordan get a chance as well. I think I would at least like to see if he could handle it, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to give him that opportunity. People talk about him playing outside. People talk about him playing safety as well. The bottom line is I didn't see him do anything but play slot for the most part during OTAs. And so it just doesn't seem like it's in their plans unless they're really trying to keep it a secret from us. And that's why it seems kind of straightforward to me, honestly. I'll be interested to see if that changes at all during training camp, but it kind of seems like they're telegraphing their intentions right now.
No doubt, especially if you saw all the reps at nickel. And see, this is the funny thing, because I think all of us just trying to figure out why this competition never ends. Because, like, even looking at this side by side, and I see you getting ready to get in big. I got you next, okay?
No, you're good.
But when you look at this picture, you can't even see even a 1/4 inch difference between those two guys with the helmet on. And if remember correctly, Jordan Lewis has the longer arms out of the two guys. And then, this not soccer. They make plays with their arms. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, so, right.
I'm not at some point, I try to come up with the theory of the height, as the thing, why he doesn't fit. But then Anthony Brown wouldn't fit. And it's just a mystery to me, Dave. I'm still trying to figure it out. I just don't get it.
No, and that's a thing that a lot of people get frustrated by. And I don't have a wonderful answer I'm actually looking up. I'm looking up to see, who's got the longer arm between the two of them. Yeah,
I think that you did a piece on that earlier,
Dave. Yeah. We need to just hang up the height thing.
Hey, and you know what else?
Yeah, I mean, it is a negligible difference. Like their arm length is basically completely the same. Yeah. So I hear you, man. No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead, big dog.
No, I was just talking to talk, my guy. You go ahead.
And I was just gonna say, just bouncing off of you, it's just wild that. And here's the thing: when he was his rookie year, he didn't have a bad rookie year. You saw promise. I thought we were going to see. Okay, you saw a promising rookie year from Jordan. He was playing the majority outside, and we were like, okay. He was looking like, okay, this is a guy that we're going to see. 2017, he's going to take the next step, and then it went from playing to nothing. Obviously, we saw where Chris Richard, but just like you said. He was not really a slot guy at Michigan. He was an outside guy. And when you're talking about playing corner on the outside, you want somebody who's going to be in your face, who's going to be aggressive, who's going to go after you, and who can actually play on the ball. One of the biggest problems, in my opinion, has been Anthony Brown being able to track that ball in the air. To me, that's one of the Jordan Lewis's bigger strength is being able to play the ball in the air, but yet he still doesn't get the opportunities. Frustrating on my end.
Hey, Jordan's career bothers me.
Yeah.
Again, they spent the top 100 pick on him in 2017. If you're a top 100 pick, I think that means the organization has big plans for you.
Right.
And we really haven't seen it. Like he couldn't really. They didn't give him a lot of opportunities in 18. And even into 19, and then he just kind of got thrown into this. He got typecast as like a nickel, and we, for my money, we haven't gotten to see enough of him on the outside. But I don't feel optimistic that that's going to change. So for his sake, I'm just hoping he can lock down this nickel job and do a good job with it.
From my understanding,
because go ahead, Law.
Oh, I was gonna say, from my understanding, that they said that they're gonna put Jordan Lewis inside the box, closer to the LOS, and have him blitzing off the edge. Maybe kind of like the Seattle Seahawks used Jamal Adams, blitzing closer to the LOS, and just being that type of player. What are your thoughts on that? You think they're gonna do that, or they might just have him out there on the outside, or play him at the slot? What do you think they're gonna do with him, Dan?
No, I mean, I do think Jordan's good at that. And Anthony Brown's really good at that, for that matter. I mean, Anthony Brown has made a ton of plays off blitzes in his career. And I mean, I think we're going to see some of that. There's going to be a few interesting parts there, because you throw in the fact that Keanu Neal's obviously going to play linebacker, but has a DB's resume. There's a lot of potential for ways that you can mix and match those guys to play certain roles. Jordan, probably the biggest moment of Jordan's career to this point was against the Saints in 2018.
Yeah.
They kind of brought him in as a dime back against Alvin Kamara, and he picked off Drew Brees to kind of seal that win. And he was doing a lot of that mix and match type of stuff. So, I hope Dan Quinn's creative enough to do that type of stuff, not only with Jordan, but with, like I said, with Keanu Neal and with a few other guys as well.
The funny thing to me, Dave, is the fact is they have so much faith in him to put him on the hardest matchups, right? So you assign him to Kamara, a running back that was at some point even been looked at for MVP. Ingram had the most separation per target, only second to Kiki QT, who was a 4.4 average, and he was averaging 4 yards, and they put Jordan on him. I just don't get how you trust him in the biggest moments but don't trust him on the outside. And I see, it's one of those things that where, even though I'm being honest, I'm a Kool-Aid drink on the defense on the front seven. I agree with you 100% on the back four being a risk, but that front seven, I'm drunk on Kool-Aid. Like, I'm all the way. I've engulfed it. It's past my stomach.
Hey, well, if the front seven is as good as you think it might be, then hopefully the secondary will be an afterthought. You know, all those guys have to do is clean some stuff up, right?
But I get nervous, Dave, because it's like in football. Remember the Raiders? That first down was not less than an inch. They call it the game of inches, and some things are less than an inch. And if you not putting the best guys out there or in their ideal positions, we still risking the Super Bowl. Because I'm cool with the playoffs, but none of us in this for the playoffs. We want a parade.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I don't know. Maybe this is a cynical answer, but like,
okay.
Jordan Lewis isn't going to be the difference between like whether or not this team wins the Super Bowl. Like, if that's their biggest problem, then they should be fine, in my opinion. But I guess we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything y'all have said. Like, the way everything that's going on back there is perplexing to me, I guess would be my word.
Right.
Well, hey, let me ask you this, big dog. I'm sorry, Law. You want to jump?
No, go ahead.
About Micah Parsons, man. I've been talking about this Micah Parsons thing. I want to get your feelings and your thoughts kind of on Micah Parsons as we head into camp. There's a lot of big story and headlines in there, but obviously they're talking about playing in multiple positions, rushing the passer, going to his strengths. What do you think? I said to me, I know this could be crazy. I'm drinking all the Kool-Aid on Micah Parsons. I'll just be first to say that. I'm drunk on Micah Parsons. I'm drunk as I don't know what, but I said he's going to be the Dak Prescott of this defense. I feel like if they let him loose and he really gets loose early, I think this defense is going to jump on his back and say, we're going to follow you. What do you kind of think of that statement? Are you saying, big game, you just outlandish right now, you drank too much Kool-Aid? Or are you saying, hey, you never know, I'm maybe feeling a little bit too?
Okay, so that's the funny thing, and I'll be an optimist for a minute, is I didn't love the pick, and I'm not afraid to say that. I thought Slater was the better pick at that spot. Shore up the offensive line, maybe have a guy that can play guard for you as a rookie. But I have come around on Micah Parsons in a big way. Seriously, like his personality is real. His personality is really impressive. I think he could be, I'm not ready to compare him to Dak because Dak is one of the best natural leaders I've ever been around. But like, he's got this enthusiasm and this confidence that I think this defense needs. And I think that this group could really feed off of that. And then, he got on the field at OTAs and like, he looks the part, man. Like he's making plays. He's picking off balls. He had literally, they blitzed him off the left side in team drills. Mm-hmm. And he was past Ty Nsekhe before Ty Nsekhe was even out of his stance. And I mean, if it had been a live rep, he would have killed Garrett Gilbert. Like he would have pile drived him. And it happened so fast that I screamed. Like I literally was watching, 50 feet away, and I went, woo! Like he's got an impressive amount of athleticism. And then the even crazier part is, I've had a chance to talk to him a couple times, and I'm like, where are you at with your comfort level with what they're asking you to do? Your assignments and how you're adapting. And he was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I only feel 50% comfortable with the playbook right now. And the rest of it, I'm just trying to kind of feel my way as I go. And I was like, bro, if that's you only feeling 50% comfortable, then what are you going to look like when you're 100% comfortable? Like,
right.
I mean, that's, is just very, very impressive for a guy who, he's practicing against, pros for, it's only his third week in the NFL. So I'm not saying he's Lawrence Taylor, but he looks really impressive so far. And so my point being is, like, when they drafted him, I was like, I don't know if this was the right pick. And 2 months later, I'm like, ooh, this guy might be a badass. So I'm really excited to see where it goes from here.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So I know that Big Game James, he's high on Micah Parsons. And the only reason why you said that you was like looking at the pick because of the offensive line, right? So
yeah,
there goes this question.
Yeah.
It's a twofold then. It's like a conundrum. Who do you really have your reservations on as relates to that front five? Do you really believe in Connor Williams? Do you really believe in Tyler Biadasz?
If everybody's healthy, I have no problems about the offensive line. Like, I think Connor's a better player than he gets credit for. I'm not ready to I wish that they had signed some competition for Biadasz. I don't really understand why Joe Looney's not on this team right now. I think he should be.
What about Connor McGovern? I heard that he plays a little center. They had him in there. And let me preface this right quick. Let me preface this right quick before you go into that detail, Dan. Let's change the world. Let's say we did have Slater now. What would you do? You have two healthy guys like La'el Collins and Tyron Smith. What would you have done, Dan?
Oh, I would absolutely I would throw him in at left guard and say, Connor Williams, if you're good enough to beat this guy, then we're gonna have the best swing tackle in the league. And I have no problem with Rashawn Slater being my swing tackle as a rookie, because he can step in for one of my tackles if he gets hurt and they both have injury problems. Or, Connor Williams is, he might not be here after next year. So now I've got a guy that can step in at guard and tackle for the foreseeable future. So that wouldn't bother me at all. But no, I mean, if the primary five are healthy, I got no qualms with the offensive line. The problem is that I just don't trust that, unfortunately. I'm optimistic about Tyron and La'el, but it's been 5 years now for Tyron where he's had some sort of injury problem. So it would be nice. It would be nice to have an insurance policy just in case something happens.
Okay, that's a good response there. I'm not trying to put you on blast. I was just trying to figure that out,
No.
where your mind will be at on that,
No, if Rashawn Slater was on this team, I would be like, we're going to have a hell of a competition at left guard. And if Slater loses it, then I'll play him, I'll kick him out and have him be my third tackle. And if Connor loses it, I'll probably do the same. I mean, he was a tackle in college. He can cross-train. That's fine.
No doubt.
Real quick, I want to be courteous to your time. I want to make sure you okay. Everything fine?
Yeah, I got a few more minutes. I don't have anywhere to be. It's the middle of June. I'm just watching the College World Series on my TV right now.
Perfect. Because so I'm gonna tell you, it's something. Big Game James and Law know where I'm going, but I'm not gonna say it right now. But it's one thing that I fear with Jabril Cox, and I said this to RJ. I want to get your thoughts on it. Everybody raved about him being the steal of the draft, first round talent on coverage, best linebacker coverage you're gonna ever see in your life, the second coming of Darren Woodson. LSU.
Right.
Okay. Hold on, I forgot your LSU guy. Oh,
See?
but all of this, you hear all of this commentary. But David, is this man gonna be the 2021 wedge buster?
Well,
with as deep as that linebacker room is.
Let's be very clear about something.
Mm-hmm.
There's absolutely nothing wrong if he is. Like, if that's all Jabril.
No, Dave, no.
Yes. Why? What's wrong with that? Why is that a bad thing? He's a 4th round pick.
Oh.
That's like, And this is, I take some blame for this. Because it's my job to cover the draft, and that's what we do, and we love it, and it's exciting. And like Jabril Cox, I think is a steal. Like for where he was, I think they got really good value on him. But people get worked up about this stuff, and they just assume Jabril Cox is going to come in and take everybody's job from the get. And I think like you just got to readjust your expectations. Like we just did this last year with Bradley Anae.
Get him.
He like everybody was like, "Oh my God, Bradley Anae is the truth. He was the Senior Bowl MVP. Cowboys got the steal of the draft." He played 8 snaps. And that's not a knock on Bradley Anae. Like, but he's a 5th round pick. That's what happens. And guess like Jabril Cox, I think he's going to be a really good pro. I'm obviously very excited about him because he went to LSU. He seems like a really cool guy. But okay, let's talk about who he's behind right now.
Right.
He's behind a first-team All-Pro.
Yep.
In Leighton Vander Esch, who was a first-team All-Pro as a rookie. He is behind. I don't care what your opinion is of Jalen Smith. He wasn't good last year, but he is a $70 million player who has been to a Pro Bowl.
Preach.
And he's behind Micah Parsons, who was just drafted 12th overall. Oh, and we'll throw Keanu Neal in there as well, who is a pet cat of Dan Quinn. He was drafted by Dan Quinn. He's played his whole career for Dan Quinn. He's been to 1 or 2 Pro Bowls as well. Where is this playing time coming from if everybody's healthy?
Oh, and don't leave out Francis,
like,
because Francis was coming along the way too. And I'm not saying that he's better or less than, but you got to understand Francis is going to.
I have no problem putting Cox over Francis Bernard. No
right,
offense to
right.
him. I think Jabril Cox is a better player, but that's not a knock on Jabril Cox.
It's not.
The NFL.
Facts.
The NFL is hard. It is a hard league. Like,
but the truth
and
hurt,
he
Dave.
just happened to.
You don't want to hear the truth sometimes. I don't want to hear it.
He got drafted into like one of the deepest, most experienced linebacker rooms in the entire NFL. So if all he does is play special teams this year, that's actually, here's the take. That's actually probably a good thing.
No, Dave, it's not.
Because it means all of the other linebackers are healthy and playing well.
True. Okay,
so,
let me
it probably is a good thing.
Your devil's advocacy. My boy Skywalker always say that. What if? Because I'm trying to see. Because we on the same team. You got a yellow headband. You got purple on your chest. I'm trying to work with you right now. You're not working with me.
No, man.
Now check this out. No, I got some. Tell me what you think it is. On the occasional game, just the occasional game, use him like we used to use Byron Jones, the tight end eraser.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We got a deal.
Although I'll just say this, I think that's a big part of the role they have in mind for Jaron Kearse, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's obvious. He's 6'3.5". He's a big, rangy guy. He's got the height to match up with a lot of those guys, and he's done it. He's done it a lot during his career with Detroit and Minnesota. They put him in sub packages where he gets to carry the tight end. So that's not to say Jabril Cox can't do it.
Facts.
But again, I think there's gonna be competition. Look, nobody wants Jabril Cox to succeed more than me. Go Tigers. But I just think that's a tall order for a 4th round pick to beat out that many veterans.
Yeah. Okay. One more question from the draft guy. You're a draft guy. Who covers better between Kearse and Cox?
Ooh. Well, no, I'll say Jabril Cox. Jabril Cox. I think
you see how I'm being your friend on the low. I actually low key have on the yellow headband myself. You just don't see it.
I hear you.
I'm trying to work your guy in here. I'm just trying to work him in here. I want him to be the tight end of races. We had all kind of fights on trying to figure out how to use him. I had an idea to put him at safety. I got killed. People destroyed me. They shot me down, Dave. I said, I don't care what you call him. Just use him to cover somebody. I mean, I want that guy as the eraser. We all know he's a liability on tackling, but he's a true asset in coverage and getting the ball. Can we both wear purple and gold today on that?
See, I mean, and again, I want to say for the 10th time that I believe in Jabril Cox. But look, man, I've done this enough times. Like I reset my expectations after the draft. Like it's two different conversations to say like, ooh, this is a really good spot to get Jabril Cox based on what he did on tape at LSU, which is true.
Right.
But now he's on the team and it doesn't matter. Like right. I don't give a damn where he got drafted. Right. You got to go out and you got to play.
Right.
And so I'm not ready to just be like, we gotta give this guy a role. He's gotta have something to do. I want to watch a dozen practices and see some preseason games. And thank God for the preseason. I used to complain about it, but the preseason makes it so much easier to evaluate what some of these guys can do in a game situation. I mean, that's how, Donovan Wilson caught everybody's attention all the way back, a couple preseasons ago. Right. Because he actually had a chance to go out and do it. So all I'm saying is I want to see Jabril Cox go out and play some preseason games and look good doing so. And then we can talk about finding a role for him, because right now he's just another rookie to me. No disrespect to him, but that's pretty much how I feel about it.
Good stuff.
That's fair.
That's fair. Absolutely.
Hey, Big Dave, before you get off here, I got one question for you.
All
right. What's your favorite? This is from my guy, Greg Fields. Your favorite Big Crit song and album is?
Oh, okay. Actually, so I am of the opinion that most of my favorite Crit is his mixtapes, actually, more so than his albums. Mm-hmm. I mean, his albums are good too. His albums are really good too. But the two that come to mind are Me and My Old School, which I just absolutely love, which is on Forever and a Day. And then he's got a song that he did with Chameleonaire called Time Machine that's on Return of Forever, which is just like my jam. It puts me in such a good mood every time I hear it, which Return of Forever from beginning to end is probably my favorite Crit project. If you're not familiar, that's the one I would suggest you go listen to. The problem is it's annoying because mixtapes aren't on Spotify. So you got to go download it off the internet instead of just listen to it on Spotify, which is kind of annoying, but I promise it's worth it.
No doubt. Let me ask you this then, Dave.
There you go, Greg.
Let me ask you this then, since we on that topic. DJ Khaled said that Lil Baby is the best rapper of this generation and the best rapper right now currently. Do you agree?
Can I be real with y'all? I've been thinking about this a lot recently. So I'm 32, which I'm not old, but I guess I'm getting older, and I don't feel as connected to. I don't feel as connected to what's hot as I used to. I know who Lil Baby is.
I agree.
I know who DaBaby is. I saw Pooh Shiesty just got arrested today, which is not good. But I don't know these guys' music as well as the guys that I came up with.
I feel you.
I couldn't tell you if Lil Baby's the best rapper because I don't think I know Lil Baby's song. But I listened to Tyler the Creator's new album kicks ass. I've been listening to that nonstop for the last few days. But I'm going to go ahead and say no, just because I feel like if you're the best rapper alive, I should know at least one of your songs. And I don't think I know any Lil Baby songs. So,
no doubt.
But also, I can hear all the young people yelling at me right now, and that's probably fair. But that's just how I feel.
You good, Dave? I'm 100% with you on that one, and ended it on that. I'm 1,000,000%. It's just not the same.
Thank you.
It's just not.
Yeah, but that's how everybody feels when they start to get older. You know,
I knew you were going to say that. The generations. They said that 20 years ago too.
Right.
Fine. You got to let the kids enjoy what they enjoy. It's just part of growing up.
Yeah. The people in the comment section are all agreeing with you, but they say J. Cole is really good though. But yeah.
Oh, J. Cole's good. J. Cole's music is good, but it's not like catchy enough for me. Like I'm a catchy guy, which I guess that makes me basic, but like that's why I always like Drake, because his stuff is it's always going to be catchy, whereas J. Cole kind of wants you to think a little bit. And I'm like, man, why are you trying to make me think so much? I'm just trying to have
fun. Right. He make you be like, I need to go home. I need to go home and change my life.
Right, exactly. I'm like, God damn, J. Cole. Like, all right, I get it, man. Like, I need to be a better person.
That's what I'm talking about. We can have a podcast. We talk about just about anything and everything. Man, we really appreciate you for jumping on over here.
Absolutely,
we
y'all.
appreciate
Hey,
you, big dog.
I had a blast. Sorry, I mean, I think I missed y'all during the spring. I'm sorry about that, but we'll have to do this again soon. All right.
Hey, yes, sir. We appreciate you. When you gonna be at camp?
We leave on July 20th.
Okay.
So real soon. But yeah, just give me a heads up. I bet we could probably make something work while I'm out there if y'all want to. Just let me know.
I'll be there.
Yeah, because we'll be
July the 28th. I figure I'll let you guys.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well,
get the ground going for me.
Yeah.
We'll go out and grab a drink for that matter then. All right.
Yeah. Let's do that, because I'll be there on the 23rd. And I'll be there a whole week, and I think Law's going to be there all week. So we run into each other.
Yeah,
let's do that. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, we'll have to set something up for sure.
First round on me.
Appreciate you, big dog.
Then you guys got the rest.
All right, y'all. Hey.
Right.
We can do that. All right. Y'all take care, and I'll talk to y'all when we get out there.
Peace.
Thanks,
All right,
Dave.
man. Peace.
All right, y'all.
All right. So, big game, James. You messed up the link. No, I messed with you.
No, I
Good show,
didn't. You
man.
messed up the link.
Hey, man, like what Law always say. We go land this plane while it's in the air.
Yeah. We building that thing.
Because I couldn't send if you send me a link, you send RJ the link. You had to send Dave a link too by itself.
I did. We'll talk about it afterwards.
See, okay.
Round 3.
And I put instructions: do not send Dave your link, because I knew that was gonna happen. But it's okay.
But you know what? You know
got
what?
through it, though.
That was me.
I'll
I'll take that. I dropped the ball on that one. I'll take that one.
But you see how we audibled out and we kept it moving. Like, listen, like some of this stuff is not perfect, but we get through it. Like my boy Law say, we go land this plane while it's in the air. We had 2 fire interviews with RJ and Dave. I think both of them was very insightful. I guess unless you guys are in a hurry, I guess I want to kind of get, what did y'all kind of get out of it?
Man, I like both of the guys' points there. They was fair. I think that what we really need to have is training camp. When we get out there, we'll be able to see a little bit further than what they were able to put out there. And I think that, this defense, of course, we will see some growing pains, which is natural, but I just think that, the offense would carry this team for the first few weeks, at least until the bye week. Then I think that this defense will get everything in order, and we just gonna go on this run. I just feel this run. I think Michael Irvin had an episode, I believe, this week or last week, predicting the same.
Michael always predicting that. Michael predict that every year. we going on the road. We going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, me personally, what I got out of both of those guys, I got out of with Hellman. I'm glad he was feeling that we'll see. The we'll see mantra. I ain't drinking the Kool-Aid. That's what I got from Dave, and I really appreciate how he was like, look, they done let me down too much, too long, too many times. Too many times I get hyped up and it just be the same thing. So guess what? I'm sitting back and just watching and seeing. And that's what I was being for the last months way before, and that's where I'm gonna still stay. I'm a little bit more excited, like I said, when I saw Dan Quinn, but it's still, we'll see. It's still, I'm not falling for that no more, man. Too many times I've been falling for it and get it. So I felt Dave when he said that, and as far as what RJ, I really was going on this Randy Gregory thing. Where he says, I want to see it. He hasn't been able, and to his point, we haven't seen Randy Gregory. He hasn't had a full season. So it's a lot of trajectory. It's a lot of hoping. Just like if you saw Trevin Diggs, you're hoping year 2 is going to be really good. You saw Gallimore, you're hoping it's going to be really good. So you haven't seen a full season of Gregory. So you just seeing little snippets. So you're thinking it could be good. But once again, in my opinion, Randy Gregory is different. He's just a different player, and he's one of those players that can transcend the age and the history of you haven't been able to do this, so let's see this. I just feel like he's different. You just see him right there, dog. Randy Gregory is just different. I don't care. I don't know how to describe it. He's just different. And just like Boss said, 10. I said over under 10 sacks this year on my Twitter. I definitely feel like he can get 10 sacks because, he got 5-6 sacks and didn't even play a whole year and wasn't even used all. He wasn't playing majority of the snaps.
Right.
So how is he not going to get a 10 sack season when he's getting not even the majority of snaps? He's getting less snaps, and he's still getting sacks. He's still wrecking shop. He's still making plays. So imagine what he's going to do with a whole offseason, a whole strength and conditioning program, a whole year of clear-mindedness where I don't have to worry about no commissioner, no NFL. Nobody's going to bother me, and now I can just play football. What? Randy Gregory's going to go...
I'm done with you, man.
I've been waiting on that button all day.
Yes,
man.
Hey, Percy Harvin. I just watched the thing on Sports Illustrated where Percy Harvin said when he came over to Seattle, he said he smoked every single day he was in Seattle, and he turned up. So just saying.
Nah, and that's what I take away from it too, and that'll be my final word, man, is that I'm unapologetically drinking all the Kool-Aid on Randy Gregory to the point to where I said, because I never really finished the bullets, but the last two agreed with what you said, Big, and we didn't even talk about this, is the fact that he's in a better mental place. And you know how it is, man. Those of us who've always or almost lost something, you appreciate it a lot more when you get a second crack at it on whatever it is, right? When you get another shot at something that you almost lost, you know better than to take it for granted. I think that's where he is. That's why I said on the final bullet, less than 10 sacks is a failed year for him. And I really did mean that. That grin was very serious. Like, he was not playing. He know what's at stake. He know what he playing for. He playing for that bag, y'all. He know it. It is no joke to him, too. That's why when they asked him, he smiled like, man, you know what it is. They asked him about that money. They said it's a contract year. And he had one of them old, yeah, you know what I'm going for. So he got his weight together. He ready, man. I'm standing with you on that, Big. And I mean this. I will come bring some cooked crow, marinate it, bake it, and eat it live if this man don't go off.
I have no doubt that
I'm not doing that, but I'm definitely with you.
He gonna go off. He gonna go off. I don't want to eat no crow. I eat that every. Last season, I'll eat crow every day on my channel.
Give me some burnt chicken. I'll eat burnt chicken. I'm not eating burnt crow. Yeah. I eat burnt chicken though.
So we're gonna be good, man. I just think that this defense, man. I just have so much love for this defense, but I just want them to I don't want them to peak in September. I don't want them to peak in October. I just want us to just slowly get this thing together. Make sure you have the right people in places, and after the bye week, man, we're going to turn up and show up. And I'm quite sure that one of the games that could be like one of those staple pieces will be against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that will be the game. Whereas everybody think that the Chiefs going to put up 30 or 40 points or what have you. That will be the game that we hold them to a minimum point scoring. And then that's when everybody say, yeah, this defense is real. The defense is real. Call me crazy. Call me Kool-Aid drinking law. But I think we can happen. I think it can happen.
Final words.
My final word is, I don't want to sound, I'm gonna have to just do like Flavor Flav right now on Public Enemy. I can't believe the hype right now. I just can't believe it right now. I need to see training camp. I feel you, Law, when you say they're you feel a run in your body. I'm sorry, I want to feel that, but I'm just like, no, I'm not feeling that no more right now. Once again, my final word is we'll see. We're getting ready to get to camp. It's some more I get to see. Now we get to see pads on. Mm-hmm. So that's going to change things because, everybody looks good. And like they say in the underwear Olympics, everybody look good. So now the real stuff going to happen with these pads start popping. And these rookies is taking and dealing with the real on the offensive line. And Osa's really dealing with Zach Martin now. You're really dealing with him now. You know what I'm saying? So we could be hyped up about Osa, but, now he going to have to go against some Tyron Smith and some Leo Collins and all them guys. You feel me? We hyped up about Micah Parsons, but you're going to really be covering Ezekiel Elliott out that backfield and Tony Pollard. You feel me? So my final words, we'll see. But camp is right here around the corner, and I'm excited for that for sure.
My final word, because, we always let Law, because Law go hard as a closer. So he go be the anchor for a while. But my final word is a couple of things I've been thinking on today. I think this offseason that Dan Quinn, Jerry, and Steven, they have basically completed the Rod Marinelli apology tour. But it's only one thing that's going to really super turn the corner for me, where I'm going to go ahead and add all kind of alcohol to my Kool-Aid and get drunk on it. I got to see one thing, and this is where Big Game James is right. I gotta see the pursuit to the ball before I fully get drunk on the Kool-Aid. Because that's the last thing remaining to be truly the Rod Marinelli apology tour. We all know from 2014 when Rod walked in the door, he demanded 130% effort. And we saw it snap after snap until he walked out the building. If Dan Quinn cannot get these guys to play fast, we're going to first see it quickly. Second, I'm going to be straight up embarrassed that I drunk Kool-Aid just over chess without doing the final piece, which was making sure that they play hard for that coach. Those are my final words.
All right. I want you guys to write these three names down and in this Kool-Aid, want to make sure that you spike it. And I spike my stuff with hen. I'm all the way on that hen dog. So three guys, write this down. Write these guys' name down. Randy, Get Down, Gregory, Michael, Gallup, Rain, Dakota Prescott. Those are the three key factors of this particular team. The reason why I'm going to start off with Randy Gregory, because we just mentioned all throughout this episode about, hey, he got a moment of clarity. He can smoke that stuff all day. He can get out there. He can cut the grass with his elbow or with his shoulder blade because he can get so low to the ground. So the reason why I'm pulling this out is because, like you said, let me see that money bag when the lady is pouring the money on the chest or the lap of the guy. Boss Cowboy, I know you got that clip.
I got you.
Yes. So this is a contract year for him. And if he don't get north of 8 sacks right there, we don't get Whataburger, right? We want that Whataburger. And also, we want to see that actual production on the field because there's no more excuses. So he got to secure that bag because he want that paper. He might want to invest into some of that other money stuff that we talked about earlier as it relates to what he can do all day, right? So on top of that, we got another guy on the offensive side of the coin named Michael Gallup. He's going into his contract year. He loved the silver and blue. We understand that he want that money poured upon his lap too, as he look up to his lady. He want that bag too, so he trying to secure this bag. So I'm looking at it like he's looking at it. Oh, you talking about Gallup? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna have my name all throughout the stadium and Coliseum, wherever I go, because I'm number 13 and keeping me. So don't talk about the other wide receivers, because I'm trying to earn my grace. Oh, by the way, you got a guy who got his bag. He got his bag already secured. We need to have maybe a deal where we have a safe, because Dak Prescott got his coins, and now he got to live up to the expectations. Y'all think that it's quiet right now. It's a quiet storm. But right now, all of the eyeballs will be on him to everybody, the pundits, the critics, going to say, hey, what did the Cowboys really pay this man that money? Huh? Is he going to be able to earn that money? So now he got to keep it up and be up and continue to make that stuff, right, happen as it relates to the stats and wins and all of those other categories, so that he can stay in the same wheelhouse of what they call, what's this guy name? Oh, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. He got to stay in that wheelhouse, and Pat Mahomes. So he got to stay in there by winning and performing and being healthy, because that's the name of the game. So those three guys, they're going to have a fantastic year just off of those principles. One is already got his bag. He's going to try to keep into the race. The others are going to try to secure their bag. So that's my final word. Watch out for this season. All three of those guys are going to have a wonderful year. And let's get this thing going the best way possible. Let's go.
Perfect.
Appreciate y'all, man. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's go.
And that was the final word.
I like that perfect.
Yo, that perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that boy be hitting it, man.
Perfect.
Ain't nobody better close
Perfect.
the law, man. You got an anchor. So, man, yeah. I ain't got nothing else, man. We love y'all. Y'all stay up.
I just wanna run it up. Count a check or something. I've been really in the field, let up. Yeah.
Be sure to hit that like button on your way out. Sharing is caring.
Don't need no deals, I make the deal. Have to take it to a meal. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Yeah.
And remember,
Kinda check the song. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count that too, count it up. Yeah. Count it up. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Need them ones, I need them fives, need them tens, I need that change to the safe, got blues inside. Greens and pinks, it's all the same. I still save and roll my change. Take some losses when I play, charge it to the game. I'm with L, yeah, I'm with T Black, I'm with Reverend now. I'm with Bay, yeah, I'm with J, yeah, I'm with Chuck and now. Still the same, not switching sides, now it's about loyalty. You switch sides off for the bag, and that's worth more to me. I mix Nike with designer, I experiment. You just rock what's on the shelf and I'm not feeling it. Search for the one, but baby girl, it's nothing real as this. Can't trust a soul, I keep a hammer, call it too legit. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel lately.